Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's up? My name is Emmanuel Lee Bean, Outspoken Bean. I am the head coach of Metaphor Houston, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for giving us your time right now. We have 10 incredible and voracious poets who are going to be spilling their hearts today, right? And we also have three amazing sacrifice poets, right? So we want you to kick back, enjoy yourselves, get you a snack, use the restroom and things like that in YouTube world and even here world, right? If you hear something that you enjoy, make sure you drop a 4 in the chat. We want to support these young people as much as possible. They're going to be bringing the fire today, and we're really excited about that. This is all to make the Metaphor Houston Poetry Slam Team. All right. Metaphor Houston's been around since 2007, and it's been going to Brave New Voices since 2007. Actually, last year, 2020, was the first year we had never went. So, we want to make sure that we keep this train going. All right. We want to make sure that we keep this train going, that we're able to be a part of these young people's lives and to impact them in a meaningful and in an awesome way. So with that being said, I'm not going to hold y'all, right? We got a lot of talent and we want to get to it. This person that is that's going to be hosting the emceeing Space City Grand Slam. She has been a youth poet laureate for Houston, right? She was a Grand Slam champion for Metaphor Houston, this very event we're doing today. She is a junior, I believe, right? A junior in Emory. Sir. Yeah, at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. And because we're doing this virtual, she was able to do this right now, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love. Drop your 4s, right? This is how you do that, right? Drop your 4s right now in the chat for Rook Mini.
All right. Hey, y'all. I am so excited to be here, to be with you guys and hosting Grand Slam finals for Metaphor Houston. Come on, y'all, get excited. We are going to hear some fantastic poetry tonight. We're going to hear some young people tell us the truth. We're going to sit here and we're going to listen. And then at the end of the night, we will have next year's Metaphor Houston. I cannot imagine a more exciting night. And I'm so just thrilled to be here. Given what Bean said, my first year on Metaphor Houston was in 2015. So it's incredible to be coming back to host. All right. So I want to first start by thanking a few people who made this event possible. Thank you to WITS Houston, obviously, for housing Metaphor Houston, and to some of our sponsors, the Academy of American Poets, Artworks, Brown Foundation, Gucci Changemakers, the Houston Endowment, Travelers, Youth Speaks, the City of Houston, Houston Arts Alliance, Community of Literary Magazines and Presses, Brave New Voices, the National Book Foundation, and to Bill Moran and Eris Brown for their workshops. It takes a lot of work to make a night like this happen, and it takes a lot of work to keep Metaphor Houston going, both to Brave New Voices and providing art and love to the City of Houston. So come on, y'all, drop those 4s in the chat for everybody who helped make this night possible. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the slam. So all of y'all should know slam was first started in 1986 by somebody named Mark White. I want to hear all of y'all say, so what? So what? We don't care about him. That was a long time ago, y'all. We care about these young people who are going to be sharing their truth on this stage with us tonight, this Zoom stage, historic Zoom stage. All right, so we do have a few rules for these young people. As much as we would love to let them spill all their blood and their heart all over this here floor, we got to constrain it. So they're all going to be sharing an original poem, which means they wrote it using their heart, their paper, their pen, their phone, not the internet, not anybody else's poem. They will be constrained to 3 minutes and 40 seconds. If they go over, they lose 0.5 points for every 10 seconds they go over. Everyone say boo in the chat for time constraints. We hate time constraints, but this is the competition. All right. They will be scored on a scale of 0.0 to 10.0. 0.0 being, oh, I wish you had not even got on this Zoom. I wish your internet was not working because you bombed. All right, let's hope nobody does that tonight. We don't think anybody will. These are fantastic young people. A 10.0 is a unicorn of a poem. That is a poem that you wish someone would read to you every night before bed, sing it into your ear like a lullaby. That poem should be your God now. All right, so we want to see those 10.0s, but we want to see them sparingly and only for the very best poems. All right, so let's not be throwing those out, throwing those away. Okay, there are a few other things. There will be no props, no costumes, no musical accompaniments, no group poems, and no animal acts. We know y'all are at home. We want to keep the same rules as we would be if you were performing on the stage in person with us. A violation of any of those is 2 whole points off, so let's make sure we don't do that. All right, getting into how this slam will work. We will have some sacrificial poets. We will not be sacrificing these poets and roasting them on a spit. They will be judged just like every other poet in this competition is judged, and that is for fairness. So we will have our sacrificial poets spit their poems first. They will be judged exactly like the other poets, and they will be sort of a calibration for our judges to measure up against, to make sure we don't have any score creeping or anything unfair happening. All right, the judges will be putting their scores in the chat. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, we know you can't see that chat, so I will be reading those scores out loud to you all as the judges put them up. Okay, out of those, we have 5 judges here tonight. We'll be removing the top score and the bottom score and adding the middle 3. So the highest score you can get is a 30, and the lowest score you can get is an absolute 0. All right. We will be announcing the cumulative scores of the poets after the next poet goes. If some of y'all, this is your first time at a slam, that might not make any sense. It never does when anyone explains it, but you will see what happens as we go along. All right. Let me introduce our fine judges. All right, everyone put some 4s in the chat for our judges. Okay, we are so excited and delighted to have you here. This would not be a poetry slam without you all. That being said, you will be getting a lot of shade throughout this entire night for giving scores that we don't like. Me and the audience are in it together. We don't like those low scores, okay? So get ready. We will not be providing any escorts to take you to your cars. This is a Zoom slam, so no one's gonna show up to your house. But still, be ready to justify your scores, all right? First up, we have Brandon de Hoyos. Making people feel seen and heard is a commitment he takes personally at ABC 13's as ABC 13's Director of Community Engagement. He has reported the news in Houston and across our country for nearly 20 years, chronicling the human condition and issues affecting our diverse and underserved communities. Y'all give it up for that. Put some 4s in the chat, put some fire emojis. We love that. Representing underserved communities, but we will still be booing you if you give us those bad scores. All right, moving on, we have Epi Chad. Epi Chad is a multidisciplinary artist, advocate, and environmentalist who tells stories using textiles, fibers, metals, places, and people, all of those. Epi is the Director of Community Engagement at Art League Houston, a facilitator with Artists Inc., and a past artist in residence with the city of Houston. She might be real qualified, but if she gives us scores we don't like, what are we gonna do, y'all? We're gonna boo her, okay? Because that's our right as the host and the audience, okay. Next up, we have Mary Shimolarski. I hope to God I'm pronouncing that correctly, because God knows I've had enough people do that with my own name. Okay, so apologies. She has worked for Gucci for 6 years. She loves to travel, and her favorite places to go are Greece, Italy, and Japan. She has been part of Gucci Changemakers for over a year, helping out with causes on education, girls and women's empowerment, and animal rights. So once again, no animal acts will be allowed during this performance. Mary is gonna make sure. All right, next up, we have Gonzo 247. 4s up for Gonzo, y'all. A legend in the Houston community. Give it up for the one and the only Gonzo 247. He is the founder of Graffiti Warfare, and I know all of y'all know him. Okay, all right. Finally, our last judge is Marlon Burnley. He is also in the city of Atlanta, A-Town. Okay, representing the big cities in the South. He is an associate artistic director at Out of Hand. He is a teacher, an actor. He's developing new works. He is passionate about raising the voices of the unheard to move us to a more equitable society. All right, y'all, those are all of our judges. Everybody give it up for them. They are going to be doing the hard work of having to put numbers to these young people's poets. So I do not envy them. I'm excited to be on y'all's team, the audience's team tonight, okay? All right, so are we ready for a poetry slam, y'all? Everybody put a 4 in the chat if you're ready for a poetry slam. Put some fire emojis. If you are ready to see the first young person compete tonight, hit the stage. Oh, y'all really fell for that? Y'all putting these 4 in the chat. We're ready for a poetry slam. Okay, obviously none of y'all have ever been to a poetry slam before, because you know we must have a sacrificial poet before the very first poet hits the stage. Somebody has to warm up the floor, and not this time, it will be not 1, but 2 whole sacrificial poets before we get into the slam. All right, so first up, we have author Alan Jones, ready for his sacrificial piece. Judges, remember, you will judge him just like you judge everybody else in this slam. All right, everybody, give it up for author.
All right, before I start, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. The eternity of abracadabra, shadows of yin with Kabbalah magic, solar flares in the depths of the conscious, the purpose for the steps of a carcass. For the genesis, you allowed me to be the seed of your soil, to reach the lights and inhale, forging the gate of scorching degrees held within me. Victories in Armageddon, or the silence of peace is never settled without your peace and presence upon the highest throne. Bow down, hands together, eyes closed. Your temple's tongue is ancient, space you've given to give it the tomb. Then back to the womb for a new cycle to bloom, or doom if the beast shall consume. Shattered souls too blind to see the truth. Rabbit holes I dive to seek the roots. Reattached, realigned, and found you. I realize myself in these bounds too. A balancing act in this constant spiral of conscious and nonsense, knowledge and objects, the prophetic for profit, who God is, the goddess, the promise, the law, yet so free, the rule of the heart, set so deep, amazed, lost, yet astounded. A sip, then a dive in the fountain. The song of motherships in your scars gave every slab for the pyramid walls. The writing will never burn from my third eye. We learn of his story, never hers. Why?
All right, y'all, our very first sacrificial poet. Everyone give it up in the chat for our poets. Author, thank you for being a sacrifice. Thank you for warming up the stage, y'all. Are we ready for our next sacrificial poet, everybody? Our next sacrificial poet? Wait, y'all, I'm forgetting something. We got to get our scores, right? We got to get our scores. Everyone say, hurry up, judges. Why judges got to be so slow? We already know all of these poems should be getting 10s, but our judges won't do that, will they? All right, we've got 1 score in the chat, 2 scores in the chat. Wow, this is suspenseful, y'all. Let's keep it moving. And we've got score held up. We're having our judges hold up their scores. For those of y'all who can't see them in the chat, we're gonna wait for all of our judges to be getting these scores up. Do we have everyone? I think we just might. All right. Okay, we have all of our scores for our first sacrificial poet author. From high to low, we have got a 9. We've got an 8.9. We've got an 8.5. We've got an 8, and we've got a 7. How do we feel about those scores, y'all? Let me hear you hear. Okay, we're gonna try that one more time. Let me hear how you feel about those scores, y'all. How do we feel about the scores for that poet? That poet was awesome. We want better scores. We want better scores from these judges. All right, speaking of, they have a little bit more time to practice, right? We've got another sacrificial poet. They could still fix themselves. All right, coming up to the stage next, we've got Zara as our second sacrificial poet before we enter the first official poet of the competition. All right, can we bring Zara up to the stage? Let's clap Zara up to the stage. Let's drop these 4s in the chat. Let's make sure this poet feels welcomed. All right, Here she is now. Zara, please go ahead.
Start? All right. It doesn't hurt me. I got what you wanted, and if you know what you wanted, the last thing you'll see is that burning silver lining right between your eyes. How high does a sister have to climb to get so high? I promise it doesn't hurt me. If I have to see you so nigh, it doesn't hurt me. But if I see you one more time, I promise you, motherfucker, I will fucking kill you. It doesn't hurt me, but the weight you put me through kinda did. If I had to make a deal with God, we'll swap places. And I make sure you're burned 6 feet under. And if I had to spend the rest of my life in purgatory, so be it. I'll make the best of it. I look back, wondering why haven't I ended all? My only true happiness will finally start decaying in the woods, and the worms eating the forsaken Homo sapien, me. If you tell me, don't get mixed up with the devil, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I fear.
All right, y'all. That was our second sacrificial poet. We are edging closer and closer to have our first competing poet come up on this stage. Meanwhile, everybody, as the judges are taking their slow time to get these scores out, let's drop some fours in the chat. Let's get some hype for the poet. I want to remind y'all, if you have never been to a poetry slam, these fours are like our snaps. So we can snap for the poet during their poem. We can say lines that we like from the poet during their poem. We can say them after. We can hype them up before, during, after, all of that, because these poets deserve all the hype. They deserve all the praise for doing the very, very hard work of getting up on the stage and making themselves vulnerable to all of you who are here today. And they are showing you everything that they have to give. And we have got to give that same love and that same energy right back to them, okay? So that is our job here tonight as the host. It is my job as the audience. It is your job. And these judges are now about to do their job of assigning these numbers to this here poet. Okay, we've got 3 out of 5 judges ready. We're still waiting on a couple more numbers. Let's keep it moving, y'all. After this, we are gonna have our first official poet come to the stage. And I'm telling you now, this stage has been blessed. It has been blessed by Osir. It has been blessed by Zara. And we are ready to welcome everything that these young people have to give. All right, I think we have 4 out of all of our 5 scores. I'm just gonna wait for Mary's last score before I read them all out to y'all. But y'all can see them up on this screen right now. Mary, do we have a score for Zara? Oh, you did? I apologize with all these 4s in the chat. I believe I have missed some things. Y'all are just too hyped, too excited. I love that. All right, I now finally have all the scores from high to low. Let's see, we have an 8.5, we have a 7.5, we have a 6.9, we have a 6.7. Did I get everyone? And oh yeah, I think I got everyone, right? Okay, all right, those are all of our scores for Zara. All right, I wanna let y'all know, this is my first time hosting a poetry slam. If this is your first time attending a poetry slam, we are in this together. If this is your first time judging a poetry slam, we might be in this together depending on how these scores go. All right, y'all, you've got some angry people in the chat here saying boo. Y'all can do better than that, and that was terrible. All right, so I'm glad y'all had these first 2 chances to practice, because now coming up to the stage, we have our very first official entrant into the Grand Slam finals for Metaphor Houston, y'all. Coming up to the stage, we have JoJo. JoJo is a young poet. JoJo is gonna speak their truth tonight, and we're gonna listen to everything JoJo has to say. We're gonna hype them up. Thank you, Osir. Put those 4s in the chat. Let's get that let's go energy moving. Let's welcome this poet to the stage with all of our energy and our blessings and our goodness, because they deserve it. All right, JoJo, let's go. Let's hear what you have to say tonight.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You are like a roller coaster, full of ups and downs, but filled with downsides, gaining everyone's attention on this new ride. You are like a fly, swarming around everybody and never understanding the concept of personal space. You crashed a party that you weren't supposed to be in. You came in uninvited and destroyed everything you touched. You're like the king whose touch was gold, and all of your gold is hopelessness and death. You are the worst enemy the world has ever seen. You are invisible to the human eye. You are a wannabe. You only know how to be someone, but far much worse. You don't know how to get a life. I bet you the dead are laughing in their sleep, already grateful they don't have to deal with you. I can imagine their skulls shaking from their hard laughter that they died a second time, and it was because of you. Even in death, you can still reach them. There's no stopping you, is there? I can imagine you already attacking the school. I wonder if you can give them a few pointers on how to run a school, or better yet, how to run a life, if all they care about is homework and money. Can you teach them how to use a brain? Can you teach them that there is a life? Can you teach them on being a hypocrite? Can you teach them that we may be immune, but we can still catch it too? Who's to say we can't get killed? Can you please stop telling others it's boomer remover? I can already tell you killed their hearts since they feel nothing for them. I bet you will laugh at them once they contacted you. Can you pray to all the teachers, deans, and counselors who have to deal with their shit 24/7? Can you give a high five to all of our nurses, doctors, scientists, and volunteers risking their health to save ours? Can you put a price tag on my life since the school already said I'm worth a zero? Can you give a grade to me if I'm already dead? Can you give my corpse a diploma for participating in life? Can you show the president on how to run a world? Can you change the season since some were bulldozer over spring break? I want to thank you, I guess, for being a president that was able to bring the nation together in unholy matrimony. But I can't wholeheartedly say that when all that's behind you is the body count stacking higher and higher. You remind me of a YouTuber ready to kill the counts in a movie. You're the movie and I'm the kill count. You are one big middle finger ready to tell the world with your fuck you by killing people. To my old pen pal, I don't know why I called you my pen pal because you are nothing but a nuisance in my life. Instead of staying 5 feet away from me, stay 6 feet away from me. You hurt my breathing space and everyone around me. Best believe I'ma use that liquid gold to blind my eyes from you. Best believe I'ma Lysol your ass if you ever come near me.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for being the very first poet to go. Our first official poet, y'all. The slam has started. Aren't you excited? Aren't you hyped up about what that poet had to say? Let me hear it in the chat, y'all. Let me hear it as we get this slam warmed up. Let's keep the energy going as we have these judges deciding how to put scores, how to put math to poetry. Can y'all even imagine trying to put a number to a poem?
I cannot.
To a heart? All right.
Not at
Before
all.
we get these scores up, I do have to say I was remiss being voice of God here today. Can we get the scores for our last poets, please?
Our last poet score, Zara, she had a 21.1. Y'all, come on. Show love for the poet, right?
Love for the poet, always.
You know what I mean? Show love for the poet, drop them fours, send her a message, send her a like, follow her, do whatever you need to do. Show love to the poets, though.
All right. What about the score for Asar? Sorry,
Asar's score.
I'm sorry.
No, Asar's score was a 25.4.
All right. As always, y'all, love to the poet, to the poems, and not the numbers. We don't do numbers here. We are poets. We are writers, and we don't engage with all that math and science stuff. That's
all right. Let's go ahead and read out the poets. Let's go ahead and read out the judges' scores, Rukmini.
All right. We have a 7.8, an 8.4, an 8, a 9, and our final score. I'm sorry, y'all. These fours have really thrown me off in this here. Gonzo, what was the score for your score for the last poet? And 8.9. All right,
hey.
We did the Zoom mirror flip, but we got it done. Those are all the scores for our last poet, y'all. Throw some fours in the chat for what the poet came to say and said. Thank you. As we get ready for our very next poet, the second poet in this here slam, in this Grand Slam finals finalist, bestest of all slams. Okay, coming up to the stage, y'all, we have Micah. Let us clap and snap and for it up in the chat for this poet. All right, Micah, let us hear what you have to say.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
They call me Cocoa Bean. Something about my skin makes them so famous, they just so happen to comment chocolate bars under my caption, calling me midnight just so they could have a snack. But in the morning, they call me coffee, as if my melanin is a daily dose of caffeine in which they fiend for and expect me to be flattered, craving me before and after hours as if I'm easy in demand, chopping down cocoa but hiding their hands smeared with chocolate. Men compliment my skin like I'm supposed to be pleased that the peasant addressed the patrician, pleased that the boulder got the pebble's attention, pretty please leave me alone. It's 6 a.m. and old boy's calling my phone wanting coffee, but that can't be what he's sipping. Must really be tripping because he asked me, hey, mocha chocolate swirl, how you doing? Huh? Can't I just be pretty? You couldn't have quoted Shakespeare, nothing say my eyes is like the envious moon, or is that too soon for you to realize I'm not something to consume? I don't want to be desired by you, nor do I want your validation. Disregarding my wishes because you want Swiss chocolate, calling me Hershey's because you feel entitled to my kisses. Stop calling me chocolate. Don't call me a mocha caramel queen. Don't call me cocoa drizzle or hot chocolate when I'm giving you the cold shoulder. As if your flirtation didn't begin with the fetishization of my skin. It wasn't your heart that broke when you saw me, honey. It was the aching of your sweet tooth, but be careful who you sweet to because my attitude is nasty. So stop calling me a pretty dark brownie. I break hearts and teeth, call me a cavity. Calling me tasty, but it's distasteful how you assume I want this attention. Dehumanizing Black girls as if we're supposed to melt like chocolate fondue wooed by being compared to food. Your infatuation with my Blackness is only to appease your fantasy. Like I'm supposed to be impressed by your chocolate conquest, be humble that you even sent me a follow request, be thrilled because you like Black girls, as if our attraction is just so rare. Like I'm supposed to be grateful that I'm deemed desirable, but not good enough to get you full off love. Because you say, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, right? So you took your fingers and you dived in, but this berry is bitter. And you better call me poison now because I'm really no good for you. Now you got a craving one of my Reese's Pieces, but your validation isn't needed because I know I'm pretty. Not for a Black girl, not for a chocolate queen. Stop calling me chocolate because my chocolate belongs to me, but the world is greedy, hungry for chocolate. Just so they can get a temporary taste and lick the plate, but when they're done, they just throw me away. And then I remember that something about my skin makes them so famous that they just so happen to comment chocolate bars under my caption. Calling me midnight when they want to sneak and creep a snack. But in the morning, they call me coffee, as if my melanin is a daily dose of caffeine in which they fiend for and expect me to be flattered. But they scream when it's too hot, craving me before and after hours like I'm easy in demand. But when they sugar rush falls, when they sweet tooth rots, they wash their hands smeared with chocolate. So yeah, they call me Cocoa Bean. But can't I just be pretty? You couldn't have quoted Shakespeare or nothing?
All right, y'all. Our second official poet showing up and showing out on this stage. And I know y'all are getting the hang of it because I see those fours in the chat. I see y'all screaming out for the poet. I see y'all quoting lines, and that's what we need to keep up for every single poet in this slam. All 2 rounds. We got to keep that energy going, y'all, because these poets deserve it. All right, before we get into this poet's scores, Voice of God, Bean, could you tell us what was the score for JoJo, please?
I sure can. JoJo's score was a 25.3. Show love for the poet, y'all.
Always the poet. What is the point? The point is the poetry. The point is not the scores.
Yeah.
We might be here with these here judges, but they are not the point. All right, they might as well not be up on this screen. But as I'm saying that, I do have to read these scores out. All right,
we do need them. Thank you, judges.
Right. We appreciate you being here, all things considered. All right, can we get the scores? All right, we have a 9.5, a
All right.
9.1,
All
a
right.
9.3, a
Uh.
10,
Hey.
and a 9. All right, y'all.
Hey.
Let's get these 4s in the chat for the poem.
We got
Let's
our
get
first
some-
unicorn.
Yes,
Score.
we do. Absolutely, we do. We got a 10, y'all. It's only the second poet of the slam. Can y'all believe that? We saw a unicorn that quickly. We just stepped into the forest. Let's see what else we have out here. Okay. All right, y'all. Our third poet coming to the stage right now is Madison. I want to hear y'all. I want to see y'all's 4s in the chat. I want to see you screaming it in the chat for this poet all the way up until she turns her camera on and she's up on this stage. All right, Madison, let's go. Let's see what truth you have to tell us today.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes, Madison, we can.
I wish I understood what it is like to be a Black girl, to know myself like a dictionary definition, to see something wrong with the world and position yourself in a warrior stance. Hand on hip, leg cocked, head tilted, acrylics pointed, ready to clap back, snap in a Z formation, increase my volume for dramatic effect, and even then, I pose no real threat. The art of literacy is not aggressive. My whiplash tongue hurt as passive for never using my racist dialect, or as my white teacher put it, never leaving your cultural imprint. Surrender is not the way of a woman of color. I raised my fist to protest, only to be met with the shaking of hands, gifted opportunity after opportunity, but not a step outside my mark. I don't want this privilege. Do you know what it's like to want to strangle your tongue, to be at war with yourself? Would you believe me if I told you the closest I've ever felt to my own name was mispronouncing it? A Google search of my surname, Petaway. Did you mean Pearson? No Peter, no Perry, no Pettis. Did you mean Petway Plantation? Images. Did you know they were Black like you? Maps. Did you know they were from Alabama? Maps. Did you know they moved to North Carolina? Maps. Did you forget you have family members in both of those locations? Did you know there are subreddits of people looking for people with the surname Petway because white doctors didn't have the decency to spell our name correctly? There are no dictionaries for words without origins. This is my birthright, and it's not broken, not worn, so I wear it. I heard to be Black is synonymous with magic, with beauty, but I feel anything but. A throat that spits flames seems more just than spitting poems. I heard to be Black is to bring what you can to the fight, while in a warrior stance. Hand on hip, pat and weave, pick and fro, jaw loose is to be a Black girl.
All right, y'all. These poets came
Okay.
here with something to say, and they
Yeah.
are saying it, every
Yeah.
single one of them. We got 10 fire poets here tonight, and we have only got through 3 of them, and we have heard some words that were said. Some people came here with a message, and they are leaving us with one. And I see y'all with the 4s in the chat hyping up these poets because they deserve all of it. Bean, as these judges are figuring out their scoring, their math, can we get the score for our last poet, please, Micah?
Of course, Micah has the highest score of the night so far, 27.9.
A 27.9, y'all. Let's get these 4s in the chat for the poet, please. Always for the poet, never for the scores. All right. And now we've got some high scores up here. Some scores in the chat. Let me make sure I have everyone before I start talking so I don't mess up like I always do and forget somebody's score. All right. We've got a 9.5, a 9.2, a 9.5, a 9.6, and what I believe is a 9.8. All right, y'all, we have these scores getting up there. Let's keep a reminder to the judges to keep comparing all these poets to the sacrificial poets. Keep your scoring fair, keep your scoring even. We will do the job of hyping up the poets because that is what we are here for. All right, y'all, let's get down to it. We've got our next poet coming up to the stage. Her name is Nadia K. Everyone give it up for Nadia K, please. Put the 4s in the chat, put the screaming in the chat, or the all caps, the exclamation points, because she deserves all that. All right, Nadia, tell us your truth.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I am suffocating. I can't breathe. A weight is just the label woman taped upon my pretty face. It's just something I'm gonna have to get used to, right? Suffocating in my own skin because apparently my body brings others to sin. This holy temple God told me to protect has been violated by men. I guess the 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal, doesn't apply to them because they steal women's purity like it's a Super Bowl win. Thou shalt not murder, but they kill us with their lies. They say, hey, I love your body. I mean your eyes. Women have it easy, they say, but they could never walk a mile on our platform heels. I'm a person of color. I already have one strike upon my back. Boom, I'm a Christian. I better watch my back. But when I came into this world, I already had the 3rd strike on me. I was born with this female body. A boy will always look low before he reaches my eyes. But hey, that's not such a surprise. Men are demons in disguise. I am suffocating. I can't breathe. This world has shoved the phrase, boys will be boys, down my throat. Every time I tell an adult, they give me this phrase, these words that haunt me throughout my day, this phrase that justifies rape, this phrase that makes sexual assault okay. This phrase, I've heard it more times than the song Amazing Grace. We are prey living in this world full of predators, even though we gave them life. I guess they forgot they came out of their mother's womb. They are always out for blood when they hear your mama joke. So why do they think we are toys for them to play with and simply throw away? Why did God give Adam Eve? I want to know why men deserve to have a woman stand by their side. I can't even dress the way I want to because I don't want to draw any more attention to me. My clothes just simply enhance my beauty. So I wear sweats and a t-shirt, hoping I won't be seen, hoping the alpha male doesn't feel like hunting me. I'm just trying to live in a society that is already against me. I am suffocating. I can't breathe. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? But hey, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. I won't live my life in fear like they want us to. We women will rise up from this cross men have nailed us to and used to humiliate us and made us grow mute. We will rise up just like my Savior did all those years ago.
All right, y'all. All right. Can we give it up for the poet, please? Can we give it up for Nadia K, who came with something to say and said it, just like all of these other poets that have gone tonight, just like JoJo and Micah and Madison and the rest of the poets that we have left to hear. Everyone here came to speak their truth, and we are listening and we are receiving it with open arms and open hearts. And I see that in the chat, and I wish I could see it on y'all's faces. So give it up for these poets who are struggling through the Zoom slam. They are coming to you with their emotions and their hearts on virtual screen, y'all, and we could still feel that in our bodies. I know I can. All right, before we get into the scores for this poet being, can we get the score, the cumulative score for Madison, please?
We sure can. And it is a 28.6, y'all.
All right, a 28.6. We getting there. We getting up there. Somebody here is going to get a 30. I'm calling it. All right. So let's get into the scores for this poet. All right. Looking. Mary, could you put your score in the chat, please, one more time? These fours, everyone's out here hyping up the poet. Meanwhile, y'all have me so confused. I can't even see the scores I'm trying to read out. Could you do me a favor and put the score in the chat one more time, please? Thank you so much. All right. From low to high, we have an 8.5, a 9.2, a 9.5, a 9.7, and a 9.9. That's almost a 10. All right, we have a unicorn already, one unicorn, and then we have a horse with a party hat on it that kind of looks like a unicorn. She's getting there. All right, we are going to have some more unicorns before we close out this round. All right, so let's get ready for our next poet, Sunny Rain. Sunny, could you come up to the stage, please? All of y'all, put those fours in the chat. Get the hype going for this poet, because I know this poet is going to have something to say too. All right, Sunny Rain, let us hear it.
Oops. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Sunny.
Okay, awesome. for my beautiful Mexican mother. I guess I belong here now. After all this time, I guess you could say I am American now. My skin may be sun-kissed and darkened, but my veins still course with red. My eyes may be dark and brown, but I promise you they can still carry a deep, sorrowful blue. And I too gaze upon the gleaming American stars, but I can promise you one thing. I will not wish upon them because I didn't come here to dream the American dream, but to fulfill it. I didn't come here to blow on dandelions, watch my desires and aspirations get blown away into the night sky, forgotten, thrust into an oblivion. I didn't come here with the intention to steal an opportunity, but to take it back, the one that is innately mine by birthright, because I am like you, a person fighting a personal strife. I've got a family with needs, kids with hopes and dreams, eyes still bright, ready to ignite, and I dare not deprive them the right to live their life better than I could live mine. I am like you, with a heart and a soul, and every palpitation I dare not let go, I dare not waste, because I refuse to struggle in vain, cry out in pain, work with no gain, sit down in my strain. Why does it matter that my skin is not porcelain? That I speak with a different tongue if I am ready to stand up and fight, carry my own weight, pour every ounce of my sweat into a supposedly welcoming country I left mine behind. Don't you think I would have preferred to have stayed in the place I knew like the back of my hand? I wouldn't do this if I didn't have to. They say go back to your country. Sometimes I would definitely like to. Not being able to cross the border, too busy trying to keep a corrupt country in order. But then I remember my kid and my grandkid and everything I did just for them. I am like you. And I still have my pride from my roots and my grief, but I have built a new dignity being in this country. Do not call me illegal. I am a person, not a crime. I am like you. Sunny Rain.
All right, y'all. The fifth poet. We have officially met 5 of our 10 poets for tonight. We are getting there. In the next 5 poets, we're going to meet all 10 of our poets, and then they're all going to go a second time. So not only do you get 1 fire poem, you get 2 fire poems. Isn't that incredible? We're going to hear 20 amazing poems tonight, and we have already heard 5 of them. All right, Bean, can we get the score for Nadia K, please?
We sure can, Rukmini. And Rukmini, you're doing a fantastic job as the host. 28.8.
All right, a 28.8, y'all. 4s for the poet, not the score. The poetry is the point. The scores are never the point. But let's get to these judges because they seem to have something to say. All right, we have from high to low an 7.5, an 8.5, a 9.5, a 9.7, and a 9.8. Now, that last one, that horse, that party hat, a little crooked, but it's okay. It's okay, y'all. We're getting back to the unicorn. We're going to find her again soon. All right, let's bring our next poet up to the stage. Up next, we have Alexis, our 6th poet. Y'all make some noise for these poets. Make some noise for these young people who have written down what they have to say, memorized it, and are ready to spit it to us, to put it right in our face and make us listen to it. Okay, all right, Alexis, what do you got to say?
Can you guys hear me good?
You sure can. Good job.
All right. Once upon a time, there was a little girl, a little happy girl, gleeful smiles on her face, sparkles in her tiny brown eyes. She always wanted to put bright smiles on everyone's face. She saw the light within the horrendous humans that lived in this scary world, made people laugh as tears streamed down their face with a dash and pink inside, taught others and learned for herself with only smiles on her bright face. Others may have been down, but she was the light that scared the darkness away. Never saw the shadow over her window. The shadow of many demons, the shadows of lies and manipulation, the shadows that haunt her innocence. The dark magic cast her heart, killed the color of red to feel cold and alone. Magic covered the sun for years and years. No warmth, no, only freezing cold, no light, only the dark that the happy little girl wasn't afraid of anymore. It was a war between positivity and negativity, a war that constantly went through her head, a war that she thought was dead. The little happy girl turned to the depressed teen. Something crawled up and vanished within her soul like ashes through the wind. The thoughts of self-hate, the reminders that her happiness is gone, steady, increased the power of the shadows. The absence of the little happy girl made the depressed teen notice the pains and lies the shadows put her through. She realized the shadow knew what the shadow shape shift was. It was an illness. It was quite something she couldn't reach. It was so close, but yet so far. Depression was the name of that shadow that killed her, that killed that little girl. The depressed teen realized that she had to be her own hero. She didn't need a man to be her knight. She could fight her own battle. No man was brave enough to beat her own beast. She picked up her sharp, briny blade to conquer the invisible, to finally get what she had before. That little happy girl was me.
All right, y'all. Our sixth poet. And at this point, I would like us all to take a deep breath together. These poets have come with truth, and we have to internalize that. We have to understand it, and we need to take space for it. So let us take a breath together after these first 6 amazing poets. All right. All right. Now, Bean, voice of God, may we get the score for our last poet, Sunny Rain, please.
Y'all, we're going to clap for the poet, right? We're going to show energy,
Always,
give life to the poet, right? 27.7 for Sunny Rain.
All right, Sunny Rain. 4s in the chat, please. Sunny Rain, all caps in the chat. What a poet name, y'all. All right, let's keep the energy up. We took that deep breath. We cleared the slate. We're ready to move on to next scores. Yep, the judges are reminding me that we have scores. We can't just do poems all night. Unfortunately, these judges are cramping my style, y'all. I was ready to just move on to the next poem, but apparently we can't do that.
No,
all right. Let us read out these scores. Mary, could you put your score in the chat again for me, please? I'm sorry, I keep losing it underneath. Okay, perfect. Underneath all these 4s, these people are just too excited. All right, we have a 7.5, an 8, a 7.9, an 8.2, and what I think is a 9.5. Everyone, can we give it up for me, please, for having to read Gonzo's post-it, always flipped? Thank you. Thank you, Gonzo, for fixing that. But let me tell you, that is not one of my greatest skills, the flipped reading, so I think I'm doing a great job. All right.
You are doing a great job.
All right, y'all, let's get the energy up, the hype going for our next poet, our 7th poet, the next young person who is going to come to this stage and tell us something we need to hear. Everybody give it up for Adam Mary, please. Adam Mary, tell us your truth.
Y'all can hear me, right?
You sure can.
The open sky saw the clouds move in like an ocean tide. I became ecstatic when a pulse of lightning struck my heart until it died. But it was fine, because you had the energy and impulse to revive it back to life. You made the clouds cry by shutting down my sunny side. Even when I was crucified by your treason to another sky, I still soared in the rain with the hope to be dry. A tempest twilight sprouted road wide, exposing the dull trauma that triggered the storm to come by. How the heavens hid beneath your skin. The devil's face rose into a gust of wind that blew my confidence out into the sea of affliction and toxicity. My lungs flooded with your venomous effort of commitment. It went down to a vortex to satisfy your vein in self-fulfillment. I lay on the shore where I'll dig my own grave as a treasure chest that seems to be worthless. Before skyfall, I see the sun come out. I was sacrificed for the thunderous sensation to stop skies from falling down.
All right, y'all, let's give it up for the poet. Let's give it up for the poem. And let's take a minute to appreciate how hard it is to write a poem. Okay, as somebody who claims to be a poet, in quotes, because who knows the last time I wrote a poem, okay? I can tell you from personal experience, it is difficult. You gotta sit there, you gotta look at a blank Google Doc or blank Word doc, or God forbid, a blank sheet of paper, and then you gotta come up with lines, you gotta come up with some narrative, you gotta come up with something to say. Some of these poets act like they were just divinely gifted. Their brains open up and there was a poem just dropped right in there, ready for us to hear on this stage. And that goes for every single poet we've heard tonight.
Well, for me, it's exactly that way.
Oh, well, Bean, I didn't know that. You know what? You should have gifted that to me when I was your student. How was you my teacher and I still don't know how to write a poem? That's my real question.
You know what I mean? Right. I don't know.
But
I can't vouch for all of y'all.
Yeah, I mean, apparently I was the one that was dropped out of the nest too early. But Bean, let me not be too hard on you since you are a voice of God tonight. Who knows what other powers you have? Can we get the score for our last poet? Alexis, please.
We sure can. Alexis, let's go ahead and clap for the poet. Drop fours for the poet. Drop a fire emojis for the poet.
Always the poet.
Oh, not the scores. Where Alexis had a 24.1.
All right, Alexis. Fours in the chat, please, but not too many so I don't lose these scores. Fours in our hearts. And then after I read out the scores, y'all can put all the fours in the chat that you like. All right, Gonzo, could you back up your post-it a little bit? Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I'm picking on you. All right, let's see here. From low to high, we have a 7.1, an 8.5,
okay,
a 9.
Okay. Okay.
Did I read your score? A 9.2. All right, that closes out all 5 scores.
And how many points do we have left?
We have 3 more poets, 8, 9, and 10, and then we are closing out the round. Can y'all believe it? All right. Let's get ready for our 8th poet, Adriana. Adriana, please come to the stage. Y'all drop those 4s in the chat, those 4s you were holding back that whole time I was talking and trying to read out those scores. Let's put those in the chat right now for this young person coming to the stage. Adriana, let us hear your truth.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. I think I blocked out. Sorry. Can you all hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Hold on one second. All right, go ahead.
This is my American anxiety story. I begin the new season laying down face up in PB teen pink orange bed sheets. I grasp my blankets and impatiently wait for morning. There are sweat droplets on my face. The aftertaste of the calamari and the California drought and I are liquefied into a sweet pudding. I'm slipping across the sky and going so fast. The moon was still at the horizon before I was actually tired. I wanted time to go by faster. Distance and time did not go together in the equation I learned in 3rd grade. Distance divided by time. Distance is too far. Time is too far for me to nearly fall asleep but never really fall asleep. The only time I ever knew what lonely felt like was when the lights turned off. The next season, I am afraid of airplanes, the musty scent of economy class, the generic uniforms the ladies and gents wore at the front of the aircraft as they waved hello. Their hands seemed to rotate the same way, left and right like a robot. The lines on their hand danced like wires short-circuiting. It was no joke. I sat down in the blue leather seat of United and faced the screen while everyone saw me picking up an old episode of Doc McStuffins. All I saw was the plane crashing into the sea, smashing all of its beautiful pieces into a piece of art. A wreck, a storm, my life flashed before my eyes. I died in a pit of salt water and sharks. End credits play. I now understand why we berate our younger siblings for having the same sweat droplets as us. Each bead a prop on the set of the season, our family business, each person the principal director. This show comes in our genetics, transferring from one to another, repeating one after the other. I'm just like my baby brothers. Sebas is sensitive, has a baby voice, more than one to stand up to his bullies. Benny is still afraid of the dark and talks about killing himself seriously, and he's only 8. We can never comprehend why we once feared jumping into the canyon, but as we prepare ourselves to hit the rocks below the splash and gasp for air, we are suddenly flying. Thank you.
All right, y'all, these young people, they came here to tell you nothing but the truth. They did not come here to tell you any lies, any fanciful stories. They came here to tell us what we needed to hear. All of them did, and we still have more in this first round. So Bean, voice of God, personification of divinity, may we get the score for our last poet, Adamary, please?
Sure, we sure can. So, Adamary score. All right, make sure you clap for the poets. Drop 4s for the poets. Drop fire for the poets. Adamary had a score of a 25.4.
Oh, these judges. I'm saying, how do we pick them, Bean? Where do we get them from? Did we just pull them off the street? Were they just hanging around waiting for something to do? Because they don't seem too qualified to me. They keep giving out these crap scores. All right. Speaking of, time for me to read them out. Everyone, please hold your scores up to the camera. All right, all right. Going from low to high, we have an 8.3, a 9, a 9.2, a 9.5, and a 9.6. All right. Maybe they heard my criticism. Maybe they're starting to get it. I don't know. We'll see with the next poet. All right. We'll see. We'll see. But the next poet we have coming up to the stage, our second to last poet in the first round. All right. Everyone give it up. Put those 4s in the chat for Nora, y'all. Nora, come on up to the stage. Let us give her a warm welcome. Let us make her feel safe so she can tell us her truth.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You sound good.
Wonderful. My DNA is but fragments of my mother and father and their father and mother. A puzzle thrown into the blender and spread out upon the kitchen table to create something anew. A mosaic of broken history, recycled pieces of paper upon which the diary of my ancestry is written. There are a million women within me. And I am just another entry to one day be reduced to my passive-aggressive smile, goofy comments, or the random urge to cloud watch on sunny days when there are a million other things to get done. But have you noticed the way the clouds tell a story? Weave in and out of the bright azure. I often wonder what they look like to those above. My greatest granddaughter will claim these idiosyncrasies as her own, as she does not know me beyond a gene in my body. And I claim these idiosyncrasies as my own, as I do not know the million of women before me. Those smilers, aggravators, cloud watchers, who are they but we? Our environment edits our inheritance in order to create our epigenome. or rather the way our DNA presents itself to best make use of the situation. A sample case is starvation, in which your DNA will methylate itself to best prevent starvation by increasing fat retention. What I've learned in my history comes from textbooks by an outsider and mistranslated stories. My DNA does not offer up its history, but I have attempted to trace my lineage. I am a descendant of survivors of the Bengal famine, a British attempt to increase exports by preventing farmers from growing food. The indigo ran red with the blood of 30 million that year. I am a descendant of the trauma of colonization. Recent studies have found that the epigenome can be inherited, meaning that single-term familial disruptors can cause long-term generational changes. What I've learned of my inheritance comes in the form of this flesh. My DNA does not forget the secrets it has hidden from me. This legacy, which I have inherited coursing through my bloodstream, the famine, changed the very essence of my forefathers' existence, and they have bestowed upon me a gift, my chromosomes guarding me from within. There are a million women within me. And this flesh of survival, this meat on my bones, was the only reason for their legacy, the only reason for my existence. Yet, I find myself abhorring every inch of what allows me to be alive. Colonial Eurocentrism has left me rejecting the million of women within me, my mothers reincarnated into this flesh who have loved me in the way of survival. I have spent so long trying to scrub myself clean of history. But my DNA does not forget the plight of my ancestors. It attempts to protect me even against my own hand of destruction. I take up space because I carry a long, heavy history. To shrink as I have spent so long wishing would disrespect all that has worked to get me here. The long line of genetics and the story it carries, the million of women within me, and the million I have yet to become. My attempt to love my body is an attempt to worship my ancestry.
All right, y'all, our second to last poet in the first round. There is only one more poet y'all haven't met yet.
Oh
Isn't that
my gosh.
wild? Isn't that crazy? We've
This
met
is nuts.
9 of 10 poets, and the time has gone by so fast. And yet I heard every single word all the young poets up here have said tonight. I heard it, and I'm listening, y'all. All right, Bean, right now I'm gonna be listening for that score. Can we get the score for Adriana, please?
Of course you can. Oh, am I on? All right, good. Of course you can. Adriana, her score was a 27.7.
All right, y'all. The poet, the poems, never the scores. All right, let us get on to this.
It just kind of caught my attention. Like,
yeah.
where are we? What kind of land is this? Where all of these? Where all of these?
What, Bean? We're
peculiar creatures.
Right, deep in the middle of the forest, from low to high. We have a 9.5, a 9.7, and a 10, and a 10, y'all. We got 3 10s up in here. 3 whole unicorns for the same poem. These unicorns are flooding in. All right, y'all. Keep the energy up. Put those 4s in the chat for this poet, Nora, and for all the poets that came before her and the one poet that's coming after. Can we get the energy up as we get our last poet to the stage, y'all?
Yeah.
Too sad. We're gonna get another whole round of all of these poets, but keep the hype up as Katrina comes to the stage. Put those 4s in the chat. Put Katrina in all caps. Put those exclamation points. Give her all the hype as she gets up here in this weird Zoom-scape. All right, Katrina, tell us your truth.
Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Katrina.
Okay, great. Do you remember those times in elementary school where you were given 15 minutes to color a picture of your family? All the other kids had drawings so effortless and picture perfect, but 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, and your teacher is reminding you of the few minutes you have left and to start wrapping up. But you look down at your blank page with the crayons in your hand, still trying to decide which crayon best represents your skin shade. No matter if I got the 8 count, 16 count, or even the 64 count, I just paid more for the same colors. I don't understand why they had 7 shades of blue, but not even 2 shades of brown or black. I am tired of coloring the sky or the ocean when I just want to color myself. Peach only represents artificial tan skin. No perfect shade of white represented the color of my father, the color of the clouds, the color of slave owners, or the color no one sees on a blank white page. No perfect shade of blue represented every wave in the ocean of my mother's language, Messiah, or the hues of blue one goes through with depression, or the shade of every blueberry I pop into my mouth. I am a crayon, and I can't figure out what color I am, waiting for others to tell me what color they want to see. My eyes are the same shade of brown as everyone on my mother's side. But in pictures, I always draw them blue, like my father. Biologists can't even explain where I came from, how I am made, what chemicals made my skin this way. My skin is a color that no one has down to a science. It is tiring to always splash colors on a blank page, sketching within the lines and colors that others have made, trying to be Picasso or Van Gogh when this crayon was created from a different pigment than what is available. Our colors don't define who we are, just a chunk of what we are made of. I can't seem to figure out my color, Asian or white, Hispanic or Polish, Filipino or Italian, but can't we just be a multicolored crayon? In 6th grade art class, I learned that depending on what color you choose, society will be biased before you even color the page. People seem to choose crayons based on what they want the picture to look like. Before they even take it out of the box, they think they already know the artist. But why do we have to live in a box when I am not just one color?
All right, y'all, that was the very last poem of the first round. We made it.
Woo!
All 10 poets, all 10 poems, and we are about to do it again, but with a break in the middle, so we can all like take a breath and like go to the bathroom and do other things, because we're also human beings, and there's only so much truth we can hear before we need to, you know, take a small break, take a little mini break so that we're ready and fresh to hear what these poets have to say in the second round. I want to get y'all hyped, because in the second round, we will have a new sacrificial poet and a new sacrificial poem. So we'll get some fresh blood on the stage, get it all ready for then we will have all 10 of our poets going again in the order from highest score to lowest score. And we are gonna keep all this energy up for the second round. And then at the end of the second round, y'all, Rudy Francisco is gonna be here, and he is gonna be dropping poems, and he is gonna be spitting all the good truth. So get hyped for that. But before that, Bean, voice of God, could you please give us Nora's score?
I surely can. Oh my gosh. So let me pull it up. Nora's score was a 29.7.
Oh my God, y'all. All right, a 29.7. We are getting up there with these scores.
Clap for the poet, not the score, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course, Dean. The scores, it's never about the scores. It's never about the math. It's always about the poet and the narrative and the choreo, the fire choreo that we have seen from these 10 poets. All right, I'm about to read out the scores for our last poet, Katrina. We have from high to low an 8.9, a 9.1, a 9.9, a 10, and a 10, y'all.
Hey.
All right, we got 2 10s, but what we really need to be clapping for is the poet and the poem that she got up here to say and the message that we received. All right, y'all, drop those 4s, get all hype in the chat, because we are about to take a little break. Isn't that right, Bean?
Well, let's figure out. Let's add her score right now so people aren't waiting for it.
That's true. That's an important point. And while we're doing that, maybe I can, hang out with y'all a little bit. Maybe I can ask you some personal questions so we can get to know each other. I have one. I'm ready. I want to ask y'all.
Before you do that, y'all, those of you who are watching and you're watching on YouTube, please spread this. Let people know. If you want to take a screenshot, put it in your Instagram, let people know that this is going on. These young people, as you heard, are putting their hearts into these pieces. We're at like 41. I think we're at 41 people, 45 people. Let's try to get into 60 people watching. Let's try to get the 60 people watching. Those of you on YouTube, even judges, if you know some people, maybe one of your partners are there, like, hey, you ain't doing nothing, go ahead and send it to them, right? I have my girlfriend working out and watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's try to get as many eyeballs on these people, on these young people as possible. Go ahead, Minnie.
Right. Being after all that deep stuff you just said, my question is gonna seem real lame, but I have to ask y'all, how many of y'all had your brackets cooked for March Madness? I have to know. Somebody please let me know. How'd y'all do? Did you do good?
Have UH in it?
I've just gotten into basketball, but I'm always here for my city, Houston. I knew we were gonna win it even from the beginning. And had we got dropped off in the first round or something, I would have said nothing. But since we're in it, since we're in the Final Four, I'm gonna claim like I knew this the whole time. All right. So how many of y'all really did know, and how many of y'all were shown up by what actually happened? I have to know.
Put it in the chat. And
put it in the chat.
Katrina's score is a 29.
A 29, y'all. Clap for the poet. Put those fours in the chat for the poet, not the score, never the score. All right, are we now ready to take a break, Bean?
We sure are. Let's get some music on.
All
right. We're gonna take a 10-minute break. You're doing great.
Let's vibe for a minute, y'all.
What? Oh my god. This is a good music.
Anna, you're unmuted.
It was just like great. Should I change my name to Intermission? Yes.
All right, y'all. We're getting to the end of our intermission period. I hope you all did what you need to do, had a moment to think and relax and rest before we get into these 10 poets again. As a reminder, let's pull everybody back to where we are in the slam. Since I know we had a little bit of a break, we are going to have another sacrificial poet to get us as the audience and the judges ready to judge these 10 poets all over again. They will all be going a second time in the order high to low based on the scores that they received last time. And so last round, after every poet, we would say the score of the previous poet to preserve some mystery, to heighten the suspense for the competition at the very end, where we will announce the 6 people who will be becoming Metaphor Houston for 2021, and I guess 2022 too, a little bit of it. But we will not be announcing the scores out loud. So make sure y'all check the chat for the scores. If you're watching here, also I will still be reading them out loud, just not adding them up for you. So if you're like me and you don't do mental math or calculator math, you will be having to wait till the end to see who comes in top. All right, I want to remind everybody that this is a cumulative slam. So these poets' total scores will be added together. So they are in a certain order coming into the second round, but everything could change depending on how they are scored this round. All right, y'all, are we ready to get the hype up, to put some 4s in the chat, to get our energy all ready and revved up for our first sacrificial poet of the second round? Ayo, let's do it. All right, y'all, this sacrificial poet, his name is Calvin King. He is a Metaphor alum. He has done this many, many times, so y'all better be hyping him up in the chat, putting those 4s in there. Let's go.
Here. Haha. Yeah. All right. Okay. Y'all can hear me. Okay. So today marks day 725 of me being on Metaphor Houston. I count, even through the pandemic, I count that. And I'm grateful. I'm thankful that everybody's here today showing up for this slam. Even though it's been a bit of a tumultuous time, I'm still very grateful that everybody's here. And I would like to share this this testimonial with the with my online family. She was about the age of 6 when I first saw the light as the TV screen, as the computer screen, shine thy holiest of men into my living room. I was asked to let this deity into my heart and allow him to wash away all my sins. His name is strength to us believers, but I've been taught that seeing is indeed believing. But he is felt. Because in the book of John, in the holy, good, sanctified book of John Cena, you can't see me. All my life, I've been the undersized, the underrated, a professional underdog. Under the tutelage of the wrestling god John Cena, I became a follower. I walked in his steps. John Cena instilled in me back in 2005 when he turned rap to gospel like water to wine in his holy album. The phrase, it's gon' be what it's gon' be, is universally interpreted as let go, let John. Cena's in the business of blessings and curses, but all of his matches are a parable. I remember bending to the will of the bully at the English Oak Department until one day I referred to Book of John, chapter, United States Championship, verse 2015. Turned the entire apartment complex into my own arena, took 2 hits just to give one, to make John proud, to make me proud that day. Followed by many, I learned it's not enough to just pray, but you must never be prayed. And if you turn your scripture to chapter, I quit match, verse 2009. I was put in the longest headlock ever. Unsure which way was up and which way was down, but I did know I was down and out. I'm still learning to fall and rise within the same motion. Apostle John taught me to shake the ring rust off, take the clothesline, and never, ever give up, because no weapon formed against my German suplex shall prosper. But you see, some matches got too disastrous for the ring, so they spilled into my backstage. But bear with me, y'all. Have you ever felt like you were your own #1 contender? Can I get 4s in the chat? Have you ever felt like you were never a world champion? Can I get 4s in the chat? Have you ever felt like the world turned heel on you? Felt like you were climbing your own ladder just to be knocked off? Felt like you were wrestling a super heavyweight only to know that you were out of your league? As Lord, can I get it? Can I get 4s in the chat? See, for years, Cena had to bear the nail and cross injustice of bloodthirsty crowds as stones cast towards him. For John so loved the world, he gave his only begotten body. That's why I get so disgusted when someone calls wrestling fake, when it gave me the strength to share my story today. And I now stand on victories I gained from throwing my doubts over the top rope. And if you have a problem with how I gain solace in my serenity, that's fine. But you can't see me.
All right, y'all. Okay, give it up for our sacrificial poet. All right, bringing the energy, bringing the blood to the stage, getting it ready for our competing poets. Give it up for Calvin. Put some fours in the chat as he so demanded in his poem. All right, fours in the chat, hype in the chat. Coming to the stage, we have from high to low. We will first have Nora coming to the stage. And before that, we will be reading the scores for the sacrificial poet.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, my bad. My bad. My bad.
I got there, Bean. I got there. Marlon had me. He put his score up. I remembered. You know, we got that Atlantic connection. He has my back. All right, y'all. Let's get these scores up so I can read them out, please. Y'all. All right. From low to high, we have a 9, a 9.9, a 9.9, a 10, and a 10. All right, y'all, clap for the poet. Put the fours in the chat for the poet. Get hyped for the poet, not the score, because the poet is what matters and the poetry is what we are here for. All right, y'all, coming up next to the stage now, we have Nora, our first poet of the second round. Put fours in the chat for the second round and for this poet, y'all. Make her feel welcome as she's coming up to the stage. All right, we have Nora first. Nora Noratorious. Can we get Nora up to the stage, please? All right, y'all. Put those fours in the chat. Let's get the energy going for Nora. All right, girl, let us hear your truth.
Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you, Nora.
Wonderful. I am stretch marks on my mother's stomach, a scar of strength she prefers to hide away. Gray hair she is too proud to dye, yet still has me pluck out one by one. Body aches and migraines. As a child, I would curl up on my mother's arm and her shoulder has yet to have recovered. My mom keeps a photo of her room of when she says she was young and beautiful. She says she keeps it as a reminder, as if she can throw off the body time has offered her and slip back into her youth. I've never seen her smile the way she does in that picture. The way there's a field or a bike behind her, but it doesn't matter because here she is the center of the photograph. Her teeth open in a crescent moon, rivaling the sun's unrelenting pride. Her eyes crinkle, not out of stress, but unhampered joy. Here, she is happy. Here, she is light. Here, she is free. At my grandparents' house, I scoured through photo albums to try to find the before, to find the seedling, to bear the tree, to birth this fruit. Not a mother. No, the concept, my existence has not yet crossed her mind. She is just a child like me, rowdy sometimes, still dreaming of reaching the moon. A child whose feet have carried her across the world. But I have been heavy on my mother's soul and souls, and now how it aches her to walk. My mom doesn't take many photos anymore. Her Facebook wall littered with pictures of my sister and I, she hides shyly behind the camera. I asked her once why she didn't smile in her wedding photo, and she said that Indian brides are supposed to cry. In her honeymoon, they forgot to fill the camera with film, so I guess I sneaked into my mother's room to try to find the before, find a crescent moon, eyes full of life, because my mother is always beautiful. But sometimes it feels only in photographs that she is free. I often fear motherhood. I've seen the way my mother's love has been the same cause of her destruction. My hold constricting, suffocating the woman within, the one who birthed me, who carried me. Motherhood is a sacrifice I cannot comprehend. Sometimes my mom cries that she doesn't know how to raise me, that she doesn't know how to be a mother, and I don't know how she would. She's just a crescent moon that set, a child like me who grew out of a photograph, trading her tomorrows to create my today.
All right, y'all. Everyone give it up for the first poet in the second round. Nora, put those 4s in the chat for the poet and the poem, not the score. Not that we've even got there, but even if we were to get there, that wouldn't matter, because what we're here for tonight is the poetry. What we're here for tonight is the narrative, the stories that these young people have come to this stage to give to us, to gift to us, really. I mean, can we just take a moment to celebrate the fact that all these young people came out tonight to spit their poems, that they sat there and wrote them and then chose to share them with us who are mostly, for the most part, even faceless people, just 4s in the chat and fire emojis in the chat, and they feel safe and comfortable and vulnerable enough to share all that with us. Like, let's just all be thankful for that, y'all. I can't express how much slam means. All right. Let us proceed with reading the scores. From low to high, we have a 9, a 9.2, a 9.4, a 9.5, and a 9.6. All right, y'all, put the 4s in the chat and the fire emojis and the hearts in the chat for the poet, please. And get the love ready as we move along to the next poet in our last round. Everyone give it up for Katrina as she comes to the stage. Let us make her walk to the stage, one filled with opulence and flowers. Put those 4s in the chat. All right, Katrina, let us hear your truth.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I look like when I'm waiting for a text that is so important that I would just sit here on my phone waiting for that ... Waiting, just waiting to feel heard, to feel seen, to feel that someone cares. 7 out of every 10 girls believe that they are not good enough or don't measure up in some way because of their looks, relationships, or background. Girls put more effort in a selfie that someone will look at for 2 seconds than that quiz that will go on a high school transcript forever. Concealers can't cover cracking hearts, and mascara can't put value on beauty, but when? When will we learn that the origin of our worth comes from a place other than Instagram or Ulta? When will relationships go beyond a person's appearance, but rather their intelligence? When will society truly see what we are meant to be, and not just some royal fantasy of perfect Barbies in a perfect dollhouse? Because let me be the first to say, but not the last, that we are not porcelain dolls sitting on a shelf ready to be bought. We are strung to society, too afraid to cut the wire, too afraid to be our own entity, too afraid for one person to think one thing as we ask ourselves, will we ever be enough? We ask ourselves, will we ever be enough? As we apply a pound of makeup and take 1,000 selfies just to choose which one we look the prettiest, skinniest, and most perfect in. It's funny how the first part of beautiful is be you. When we can't even be ourselves to be labeled that word, it is like running on a racetrack, round and round. No matter how many laps we do or number of steps we take, we can't get any closer to the center of the field in a world where skin color and gender requirements are prerequisites to crossing the finish line. We always seem to get cradled for show when it is our turn to be the director. Excuse me for wanting to become a part of the show. We always seem to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, trying to be as good as the next face. Enough like this one, not enough like the next. ... Waiting, just waiting too long for the world to accept us. So again, I ask, hopefully it's the last, but who defines when I will ever be enough?
All right, y'all, the second poet in our last round. Y'all give it up for the poet, please. Drop those 4s in the chat. Keep that energy up. tell the poet how you feel. Drop the lines that resonated with you. Drop those 4s during, before, after, whenever you feel like it. Tell the poets how much you appreciate them, because trust me, they want to hear it and they deserve to. All right, can we get some scores up for this poet, please? And remember, we are focused tonight here on the poets themselves, on the poems and everything that we are gaining from them. All right. But we do got to have these scores though, unfortunately, sadly, or y'all wouldn't show up. Okay. All right. Let's go. Scores from low to high. We have a 9.3, a 9.5, a 10, a 10, and a 10, y'all.
Hey.
All right, let's clap for the poet. Let's put the 4s in the chat for the poet and the poem and what they came to say, and not the scores. The scores are just to by the by. The scores are just to draw y'all in, but we're really here and we're really staying for the poems that we're hearing, right? Am I right? Okay. Let's keep it moving. Coming up next to the stage, we have this young poet, Nadia.
Whoa. We need. Yeah. My bad. We're not saying the scores, right? We're not saying the scores.
The teacher, Bean. It
That's
was bound
right.
to happen at some
point. You know what? You're right. My bad.
All right. That's why there's 2 of us. We keep catching each other. We got this together. All right now, y'all. Hype some more energy up. Get this poet to the stage. Make them feel welcome and safe to spit their truth. All right, Nadia, tell us your truth.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, how I love the rain, the smell, the sound, the cleansing it gives the earth. Its peaceful tune puts a smile on my face. But have you ever wondered why it rains, why the clouds choose to release it? Some say it's the water cycle, but I think it's much deeper than that. The rain waters the earth we live on, the earth we trash, the earth we pollute, the earth we kill. But she still chooses to give us life with her rain, her tears. Rain washes everything with its sorrowful tune, a sound so beautiful to the human ear. If only the rain could wash away the damage we humans have placed upon her. We have given her a virus. I'm not talking about corona. Her temperatures are fluctuating between extremes. Global temperatures are rising. She must have a fever. We have given her a disease. According to NASA, her ice sheets are shrinking, her glaciers retreating. Maybe we ought to do some spring cleaning. I keep preaching. We need to stop littering. But no one seems to care. People don't even think about the unclean air we breathe in, our cars, the oil industry, chemical plants that kill Earth's plants. We have messed up her menstrual cycle. Her pH levels are unbalanced. Forest fires in California, Australia, earthquakes in Japan, the South snowing. Remember the phrase, I'll believe in climate change when Texas freezes over? Well, guess what? That happened. We have polluted the oceans. We cut down trees like we don't need them to breathe. Society has even polluted us to think that our lives are more important than the wildlife. Animals go extinct faster than the human eye can blink. We keep messing up their food chain, their life cycle. We destroy their homes to enhance our own. Last time I checked, God made animals before he created man. Last time I checked, we were supposed to be good stewards of this land. I am scared. The earth is dying right in front of our eyes, but we just turn a blind eye. Her call for help is never seen. We can see this through the natural disasters we see on TV screens. Her tears turn to floodwaters. In Genesis 9, verse 11, God said he'll never flood the earth again. He'll never kill his creation with floodwaters ever again. But we might just kill ourselves if we do not make a cure for this disease we have given her, this tragic sickness we have placed upon her. Next time it rains, I hope you listen to her.
All right, y'all. Give it up for these poets. Give it up for these poems, these young people coming to the stage. It is nerve-wracking to be up on a stage, and I have never even been on a Zoom stage. So the butterflies have to be even more amplified. Like, it's nerve-wracking, y'all. So give it up for these poets having the poise, the courage to come up here and to tell their truth the way they are, with the eloquence, with the choreo, with everything memorized and all up in their heads. We appreciate that shit, poets. Keep it up. All right, and we will keep up the love and the hype for you. That is our promise to you. All right, y'all. We're getting some scores up here. I'm gonna read them out in a second once we get everybody. All right, all right. And what do we have? Okay, from low to high, we have a 9.4, a 9.5, a 9.7, a 10, and a 10. All right, y'all, drop those 4s for the poet. Drop those 4s for the poem you just heard. Drop the lines that stuck out to you. Tell that poet if you heard something that you will take away. And that goes for every poet and every poem that you hear tonight. These poets deserve to know that their words are going to stick with you, because I know all their words are going to stick with me. All right, y'all. Coming up next to the stage, our third poet in the second round. Just to let y'all know where we are. Come on now. We have, I'm sorry, we had our third poet. I'm lost. Our fourth poet in the second round. Coming up to the stage, we have Madison. All right, y'all. 4s in the chat. You know how it goes. Make the poet feel welcome. Madison, tell us your truth.
Testing, testing.
You sound good, Maddie.
My self-portrait as a vending machine. Now, being a vending machine is, how you say, big mood. When you're transparent daily, reflecting everything you have to offer, only to be attacked when I don't give you what you want. I'm all out of reassurance and gummy worms, so try self-pity. Doritos, high carbs with a bad decision, and taste the rainbow. Anything to keep you from finagling what you so desire, because I am full of your bullshit and no longer possess the mental or mental space to accommodate you. You see, too often I have been approached as if I am available 24/7, ignoring the out of order sign plastered on my resting bitch face. Now look at you. With your no snack having ass, you consume your patience faster than anything I can give you and fog the glass with your insincerities. I am only an individual, and no, I do not accept loans, especially when I have invested so much time into your well-being that I went broke. You are only pressing my buttons. See, no one asked for your opinion. Please think before inserting yourself into my life and have an A1 day. Awkward transactions such as these are rare, but warrant lies such as, "You're sorry and I'm right," to get stuck on my coils. Try shaking me down with, "But you're being selfish." Heed the warning sign. I will quite literally fall on you, because sometimes I need a shoulder to lean on. So why not yours? Why not tomorrow, when you'll definitely be back, and hopefully by then I'll be fixed and ready to serve you. But today, I'm out of order.
All right, y'all. 4s in the chat for the poet, 4s in the chat for the poem. Let's give it up for all these young people, the diverse wealth of narratives that we have gotten tonight, all the different messages that these young people have had to say. We love Metaphor Houston because we love creating a safe space for young people. And as somebody who was once younger than this, I know some of y'all are going to say that I'm young, Bean, you're one of those people. I'm not anymore. I'm a whole grown adult, no longer a youth poet. But once I was, and I was scared to tell my truth, and Metaphor Houston gave me a home to do that. So y'all give it up for these young poets, because I promise you what you say to them will stick, and what you say to them will help them believe in themselves as they should. All right, y'all, we are going to get into the scores for this poet. All right, from low to high, we have a 9.1, a 9.5, a 9.7, a 9.9, and a 10, y'all. These unicorns are getting real frequent, and that's how you know the poets are being appreciated. But we also know the poets are being appreciated because of your love for them in the chat. You sending out those 4s into the universe, sending out your love and your energy to the poets, welcoming them to the stage, and making sure you appreciate them after the poem is over. Speaking of, let us get into our next poet, y'all. Put the 4s in the chat, put the energy in the chat, get the hype ready for our next poet, Micah. Micah, can we get you up to the stage, please? We are ready to hear what it is you have to say. Y'all, keep that energy up, put the fire emojis, the heart emojis, the 4s. Can we get Micah into the panel? room, please. All right. Let's see what you had to say, girl.
Can y'all hear me? I serve rocks for
I can hear
breakfast,
you.
so okay. I serve rocks for breakfast, so now Master got stones in his gallbladder. His wife placed the baby on my nip, and I dropped the baby and told her not to cry but spill milk. Whipped up retribution with Crisco and threw it at their feet so they can feast on fire, but too bad they ain't got milk to wash down ash and cider. When they asked me why I did it, I said, the kitchen is closed. Closed the cabinets and turned up the stove. Let the big house explode and watch the burnt crackers and put them on my meatloaf. Heard the baby crying, but he can't have my milk. They say he need his mammy, but I told him I ain't his mama. Other baby wanted pancakes for breakfast. He must thought I was Aunt Jemima. Told them the kitchen is closed. Took a skillet to knock out old Jim Crow, and if he got hungry, he could bite the dust because I'm only cooking cold servings. And now I'm in the mood for pie, so maybe I watched The Help too much, but they lucky the kitchen is closed. I've been feeding America for too long. Now they full of my hard work. Lady Antebellum worked in shackles, but want to use me as a wet nurse. Told him my chest hurt from pounding on it too hard. But Uncle Sammy wanted his mammy to do the whole 9 yards, wanted me to cook, clean, and bandage the nation's scars. Wanted me to build his house and clean it too. So I threw a pan in his pot belly and had him cough up corruption. Flicked him off like a grain of rice, but if he wanted nice, he should have asked Uncle Ben. I've been feeding white men since I was 10, spoon-fed off of capitalism. They feasting on grief and having second helpings of oppression. But when they really want something sweet, they sneaking in my kitchen. The modern day mammy be in the white man's pantry serving up his next meal. White folks love mammy so much that Tyler Perry gave them a deal. And then there was Martin with Big Mama cooking up another woman's meal. Hattie Mae and Hattie McDaniels did it again. Popeyes loved Mammy too. Had her posing in the kitchen even though Mammy Annie ain't never fried chicken. Putting Mammy in TV screens as it's supposed to be the imitation of life, but who pays the price when Mammy don't want to give her milk? When she don't want to feed the mistress kids, when she don't want to pay the white man's bills, when she don't want to clean up Sammy's messes? Enslaved for these big corporations and work, because that's what mammies do, right? Smile and say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, master, no, master. America, cinema has it real bad of turning the nurturing nature of Black women into depictions of submission. Letting the mammy be how white folks make their millions. How could we let this happen? Let's burn the narrative with the wood from Uncle Tom's cabin and let the ashes be gone with the wind, because mammy ain't cleaned up. So I served my last meal, did a little this and that, and put some stones in Master's breakfast. Now he has gallstones. His wife placed the baby on my nip, dropped the baby, but it only seemed to scream louder. I told her not to cry over spilled milk, whipped up retribution with Crisco and threw it at their feet so they can feast on fire. But too bad they ain't got milk to wash down ash and cider. So when they asked me why I did it, I said, the kitchen is closed.
All right, y'all. 4s in the chat for the poet. 4s in the chat for the poem. Hype her up. Hype up every single poet who has come to this stage, who has blessed the mic, the metaphorical mic, because we are all now on this here Zoom. But the mic that we all share, y'all. I'm so honored to be in the company of all of these poets tonight, honored to host this slam, honored to get to read out these scores that don't matter, but what does matter, the best thing about it is that I get to tell y'all to keep the hype up and keep the energy up, because that is my favorite part of any slam, is feeling like we are all in a community, listening to these poems and responding to these poems together, because we are, and that is what slam is here for, y'all. Can we get these scores up? Let's read them out. All right, here we go. We have from low to high, a 9, a 10, a 10, a 10, and a 10, y'all. 4s in the chat for the poet, please. 4s in the chat for the poem you just heard. Let them know if there's something that—
Did I just hear a 30?
You just did, Bean. We got 4 10s up in here. We have our first perfect score of the night, y'all. But you know what? That doesn't matter. We don't care about the scores in this house. In this house, we care about the poets, y'all. So make sure that you give those poets your metaphorical hugs. You tell them all the things that they need to hear to make sure they walk out of here with their head held high, because every single poet that has blessed this mic has done an amazing, fantastic job. All right, y'all, let's move on. Let's get into our next poet. Our next poet coming to the stage is Sunny Rain. Y'all get yourselves ready for some Sunny Rain, okay? Let's put the 4s in the chat. Hype up the poet, hype up the poems. Can we get Sunny Rain up in here, please, so she can spit her truth? All right, y'all. Keep the 4s going, keep the hype going. Sunny Rain, tell us your truth, please.
Titan Atlas holds up the heavens, lifts the earth up to God, making sure that I won't fall. His muscles are defined by the weight I carry, the anxiety from inside my body, Atlas mountains on my chest, a hurricane in my body that makes my heart race. Heat wave from the African Sahara, and my palms start to trickle with sweat, countered by an Arctic chill that sends dominoes down my spine. Pressure like singularity imploding within the empty universe in my body, anxiety. You are my trials. You are my tribulations. You are my Saharan desert, yet my saving grace, my oasis. The temptation to crumble, break down, and fall. The toxic motivator that won't let me rest, resist till every muscle in my body no longer aches, till my eyes no longer close on their own. It feels hands blow swirls around me. It clouds my way, a crystalline fog that clouds my days, anxiety. For once, I want to rise like the sun. I want to get up because I have the desire to light up my own day and that of others along the way. I want to get up next to immediately, not lie there wondering when the will strike me like lightning. But Atlas Mountains, I am stuck on the other side where it's nothing but dry Sahara in my eyes because there is nothing left to cry. I am tired. Tired of waking up out of sheer guilt and fear. Tired of melatonin pills, tired of melatonin bills. I toss and turn like the tides at night, but come the sunrise, my bed devolves into my grave. Anxiety, you make my heart race like anxiety, you make my heart race. You keep my nerves entertained like an audience at a NASCAR race. Anxiety, for once, I want to rise like the sun. But instead, my heart is heavy and my head feels light. Titan Atlas, in Atlas Mountains on my chest, but there is no Titan Atlas holding up my heart. Anxiety. You made me afraid. Afraid that I'd fall so hard, I'd fall down the mountainside. You made me afraid, run away like a fugitive who's done nothing wrong, but they know if they get caught, they won't make it out alive. Tell me I am wrong, but it feels like I can do nothing right till I paint a beautiful picture, toil over every last detail, get it perfectly right, but there's that slight little line misplaced like my thoughts. I can't help the urge to erase and erase till all that's left on my page is blank white and the echo of my sunken time. But I don't learn my lesson. I go and I go. The beauty exits. Diamonds form from the pressure in my cold mind. Climb over the mountains where I could just sink into the cool Mediterranean. drift all the way into the Atlantic, stare at the sky, reach up for the clouds, fluff them up like a pillow, pick out the stars one by one, collect them in a jar to save up some light for a particularly dark night. Anxiety. You are my perfection. You are my procrastination, the double-edged sword that has been my weapon through life. But I am sick of wars and I am sick of fights, sick of choosing pain over courage, always ignoring the brighter side. Anxiety, I want to set you down. I don't want a weapon, but a shield of golden hope and light. Anxiety. This is not goodbye. This is hello. As I stare you straight in the eyes for the first time, tell you that I need no Titan Atlas because I am not afraid anymore. Sunny Rain.
All right, y'all. Give it up for the poet and the poem, please. Let me see those fours in the chat for what these young folks came here to say and are saying. All of them came here to spit their truth, and they are doing exactly that. And we are here to love them, to hold them close, to send energy toward them, to appreciate all the work they have put into getting to this moment. They had to go through prelims. They had to do this one time, and now they're having to do it again on Zoom in front of all these judges and all these people. So let's say thank you to all the poets who have gone through all that to share their words with us today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, poets, always. Y'all always saving us from this math stuff too. We can always take refuge in the poems. Happy National Poetry Month, y'all. Happy National Poets Month. Y'all are some of my favorite people. Some of my favorite people on this earth are poets. We see the unicorns in the forest, y'all. All right. So we're getting some scores in the chat, and up here for our last poet, Sunny Rain. I'm gonna read them out from low to high. We have an 8.5, we have a 9, we have a 9.5, a 9.8, and a 10, y'all. All right, we've got the mythical creatures out here to frolic today, but as always, give it up for the poet and the poem. Put the fours in the chat, keep the energy going, y'all, because we have just gotten through our 6th poet. We still have 4 more poets, and then we're gonna be done. Isn't that wild? We've been here together, we've been in community, we've been listening to these poems, and we only have 4 poems left, y'all. And then we have Rudy Francisco, but 4 young poets, 4 competing poets. All right, let's get hype. Let's get ready for our next poet. Let's get the stage blessed. All right. The next poet coming up to the stage, she is already here. That's how prepared she is Adriana. Hear your truth, girl. Spit your truth.
Swell. Can everyone hear me? I wish I could tell homophobes to listen. The breeze, the hair whipping against your face, blood seeping from your arms, wrists cut from self-harm, and the screams your children are pleading for you to just get their pronouns right. I wish I could tell homophobes about how every time I step into a chapel, be it a school or church, the old carpet beneath my feet gives way like eggshells, the snap, crackle, pop of the resonating sound signaling my presence, and then all the hawks' heads turn to me, the shiny object. And when I have bad dreams of being beaten with Bibles, the very book you call Savior, it makes me wish I was dead. I wish I could tell homophobes how all of my friends live. Lily stuck within the 4 walls of her room to be herself. Her parents are flitting between love your child and love your religion, and every text that says my dad says my pronouns are for faggots, and every smile that plasters over the accidents, and every time she sits in the back of the classroom in that awkward cross-legged stance, green-red hair with bangs glowering over her eyes, teetering between a sapphire blue or jungle green. I feel like she's Buffy to my Giles, watching her slay her demons, and I should do something about it. Did I mention? I was also like this once. I could have easily gone to a psych asylum just as much as she could have, but then again, it's not the worst thing I've seen people go through. Wrists cut, mind cut from family, jump from foster home to nightmare house, parents to love to parents being hell's angels. Do you still think we deserve this now? I wish I could tell homophobes what it's like to be finally free from this hard knock life. To be a ghost in your own body, looking up from inside this wooden sterile casket, hiding from all those who came to mourn so you don't regret hanging yourself and find out people actually cared about you, hiding from the rodeo that is your eulogy when your parents still call you a girl at the wake, the vigils, and the calaveras cantating your momentous life, but they'll just say that what killed you was innocent confusion. I wish I could tell homophobes how hard it is to not be unbiased, to not hate you every time Black trans women pumped with lead. It was most likely a panic defense. Trans girl walks into Interstate 17. She was most likely bullied to death. And gay kid hangs himself from a playground for all children to see. He was only 14. He was most likely bullied to death. Appears on the news headlines. I get murdered when you appear on the news headlines. If you force normality onto us, why can't all the comprehension of the manifestos we try to give meaning get through to you? I wish I could tell homophobes to wake up and hear the arpeggio of suicide notes from kids. The entire world is afraid of you. And that's 70% of Americans too. 70% kindness rushing, 70% people flushing out 30% of the hate that flows like rivers, fissures in the holy ground that is our nation. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in children behind vehicle crashes. And between the two, both can be prevented, but one is unintentional, accidental, and forgiven. I wish I could tell homophobes about my mother. Her angelic disposition, her golden fleece she gives to everyone. Blankets out the cold and blankets out fires. She takes a higher road above the clouds to make sure that everyone is loved. She's not the original, but she's in every one of us. Thank you.
All right, y'all. These poets came to say what they came to say. And they are not telling us any sugar-coated lies. They are telling us the cold, hard truth. Can we all take a deep breath together, please? All right. All right. Slam spaces are safe spaces for all of our poets to be vulnerable, to tell the truths that other people refuse to hear, because we, as an audience, we will welcome them, we will believe them, we will give them love, and we will give them energy, and we will validate them, and we will listen to what the young people have to say. All the young people. All right. Okay. We are about to get some scores up in here for the poet. But can we first please get some 4s in the chat for the poet and the poem, please? 4s in the chat for everything, for all the things that these young people came here to say. All right. Can we get scores for Adriana, please? Okay, y'all with the 4s, please. I gotta scroll up. Y'all stop putting 4s in the chat. I gotta scroll up. Okay. Y'all are too hype. Okay, Mary, could you do me a favor and put your score in the chat one more time? Please, I apologize, everyone. The chat is really blowing up right now. All right, perfect. Okay, I'm ready. From low to high, we have a 9.4, a 9.5, a 9.6, a 9.9, and a 10, y'all. Can we please give it up for the poet and the poem? Put those 4s in the chat, put the lines in the chat that resonated with you. Tell that poet if they made you feel something, because these poets have been making me feel something, all of them. I forgot how much a slam expands your heart, makes you feel all the things, but we are here in community with each other. We are here to support each other, and we are here to listen to the young people. All right, y'all, coming up to the stage next, 8 out of 10 poets. Number 8, we have Adam Mary. Can we welcome Adam Mary up to the stage, please? Can we get the 4s going? Can we get the hype going in the chat? Can we get ready for this next poet as she comes up? Can we get Adam Mary in the panel box? Perfect. All right, Adam Mary, we are ready for you. Spit your truth, girl.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Can I have a second? I need to inhale and wait for another minute to numb. The future is at my front door, waiting for me to come out. I look out the window of prospects and feel an overwhelming amount of pressure tackle me to the ground. The present is my conscience, begging me to shut the curtains and hide. Nostalgia is not my escape. It's a hideous beast with beauty engraved within. An incision of nefarious scars appear every time they ask, "What do you want to be?" You only have 1 year to decide one choice for the rest of your life. The complexity of the question stuns me into a state of hyperventilation. These days, everyone wants the future figured out. But what if I stand barefoot in a field of rocks while they lay in a field of flowers, scouting at the stars, seeking for the brightest one to be theirs? I'm not ready to stargaze. I'm still rock picking like a child from the Stone Age. If I don't answer an intellectual way, they'll bless me with sage and pray for my soul to be sane. I'm a middle child. I'm stuck in a parallax where I am too old to wait on time, but too young to decide. Before I answer, I exhale and dance off the pressure until I'm light enough to fly. So stone me with the stars, cleanse my rationality, do as you please. One thing you can't take away from me is I'm human. As for my reason and my answer, I don't know yet. And if it bores you, tell the future to wait for me on your way out. Thank you.
All right, y'all. All right, we are getting up there in this slam. We only have 2 poets left, but for right now, can we get the 4s in the chat for this poet? And can we get the 4s in the chat for this poem, y'all? These poets, they are young people, but their voices are so loud and we need to let them ring. We are all here tonight to learn something. Actually, even if we are not here tonight to learn something, we will learn something because there's something to take away from every single one of these poems. All right, y'all, can we get some scores up for this last poet, please? All right, getting there. Okay. Let us see. Scores. All right, from low to high, we have an 8.6, a 9.1, a 9.2, a 9.6, and a 10, y'all. Can we give it up for the poet and the poem, please? And can we give it up for all the poets and all the poems? I need y'all to be extra hype, extra energetic. Listen, I know it's been a minute since we started this slam, but y'all know there's something about this that drives you, that gives you passion, that makes you excited to be here and excited to listen to these poets. So as we get to the last part of this slam, I need y'all to be so loud. I want people to hear you, even though it's you typing on the screen. All right, y'all. Let's move on to our next poet. Our next poet up is JoJo. I want y'all to drop the 4s in the chat, drop name in the chat, scream loud as she comes up to the stage. All right, y'all. Spit your truth, poet.
Y'all can hear me, right? Home. A foreign name for everyone, but there's never an in-between. The bustling city, the lively noises, the streets of people nonchalantly passing each other, the popular sights to roam and see. It is the long-awaited hours that make the trip worth it. It is the heart of the people making the city lively. It is the blood of the innocent that run these streets. This city, this place is anything but fun and lively that people try to deceive themselves. It is the march to justice, a march of fire, a march of all hypocrisy and unfair treatment. The American way burned to the ground, the golden carriage to a new era, putting a fallen hero to rest that brought this community closer, for better and for worse. The unrighteousness of a disembodied member, a fallen angel. How many lives must be taken before the hypocrisy of this city? No, the entire universe ends with a flag burning down the throats of proclaimed politicians to make a change for this world. Empty promises that put them up in the powerhouse where they won't lift anything unless it's the green paper that fills their pockets and put their feet up high in the sky. When sometimes their head is up their asses to not see what we see. Hold that tongue of yours before it gets you killed. Hold yourself so no one can harm you. Hold your mind so no one can tamper with yourself. Hold your head up high to the world that isn't all colors and happy sunshine. Hold your head up high for what you stand for. A stand for justice, peace, and harmony. This is a city where its mask has its crack to reveal its true color. We can take away the mask and show our bare selves. We can show our vulnerable side. We can rebuild our broken cracks and heal our mind. It's a place of dream that can happen. It's a place of pain and worrisome. It's a place for righteousness and unrighteousness. This home isn't perfect, but this is where I'm from. This is the first place where I took my first breath. This is where I grow my roots. This is where I will set my roots. A place where I bloom into this world and build my garden. A garden of hope, love, and happiness. I believe in hope so that others can be saved and feel at home, because this is where I'm from.
All right, y'all. 4s in the chat. 4s for the poet. 4s for the poem. Always, always about the poetry. Thank you to every poet who has come up and blessed this stage tonight. Thank you to everyone who just writes poems at home in their diaries, puts them on the internet, or chooses not to. Thank you for everybody who is a poet. This month, National Poetry Month, and all months, y'all, poets are doing something special. We are doing the work. So thank you to poets for being my home, honestly. All right, y'all. Let's get these scores up. All right, here we go well, we still got one more score left. We're doing some thinking. In the meantime, how much do we care about the scores, y'all? How much do we care about the scores? We don't care about the scores one bit. We are here for the poets and we are here for the poems, right? Barely. Not even this much. Like maybe like this much. Like not even that much, really. Come on, y'all. All right. Now I gotta scroll back up because y'all busy telling me that y'all don't care about these scores. I gotta find them, y'all. Y'all keep making this hard for me. This scrolling button, she's difficult. All right. Okay, I'm ready. All right, our scores from low to high. We have a 9.5, a 9.5, a 9.7, a 9.8, and a 10, y'all. We are officially in fantasy land. We are officially in the world of magic where magic exists. We have seen so many unicorns tonight, and I'm happy to have seen them with y'all. All right, y'all, we are about to have our last competing young poet. Can y'all tell me in the chat how you feel about that? Because like, I don't feel like that's good at all. I feel like I want to be here for all night with y'all. I want to hear everything that these poets have to say. I want to hear 5 poems a poet. But unfortunately, we only have time for 2 rounds and 1 last poet. All right, y'all, we got to make the most noise. We got to get the most hype for our last young poet, Alexis, coming to the stage, ready to spit her truth. All right, Alexis, let's go. All right, y'all, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Give us a moment.
Looks like she's here. Alexis?
All right, we got it. All right,
let's go.
Let's go, y'all.
Do a check, Alexis.
Y'all can hear me fine?
Yes,
Hello?
we can.
All right, sorry about that. Dear police, I'm a Black young lady. Will you shoot me if I walk the streets? If I go shopping? If I go driving? Now, what if I was white? What if I was the skin tone, my inverted skin tone into the blank pale tone? Will you shoot me then? My skin tone must represent my personality, I guess. My dark complexion defines me as an aggressive individual. But if I was 10 times lighter, oh, how I would be viewed as an angel. What did I do? What was the reason of killing my people? Should I be scared for my 14-year-old brother who has the most optimistic personality you have ever seen? Should I be scared for the 3-week-old that's just starting to grow? What about my 19-year-old brother? He's grown practically. But what about that bullet that has his name on it? His name carved into the metal with their claws. What will you use that for him then? If I put my black hands up and obey your orders, will you still shoot me? If I flip my hands around and show the lighter side, the side of freedom, the side closest to privilege, will I still die? Why does it take so long to convict Officer James Van Dyke for the death of Laquan McDonald? What about Terrence Cruncher? Where's his justice? Why does Miss Betty Jo Shelby walk freely in her murderous pale skin when there's an innocent colored skin 6 feet deep? It takes too long to send these corrupt beasts that disguise in blue to serve and protect, to give them their punishments for killing the colored skin, the ones who wanted to mind their own business, the ones who just wanted a good day. What is happening? Police brutality was supposed to end. Riots and protests are just for our voice to get heard, but you cover your ears like our voice doesn't matter. We cry and beg and plead for you to stop killing the ones who do not deserve to die. But why should we try if all you're gonna do is point the gun and shoot? When is enough enough? When will we have our choice? When will we have our chance? We just want to cry tears of joys instead of tears of grievance. We want to live freely. Sincerely, the cries of a Black young lady. But P.S., I would like a response ASAP. Thank you.
All right, y'all, our very last poet just went. We have heard all the poets who came today to spit their truth on this stage, and we have heard them twice, and we have been listening. And thank you. Thank you, poets. Thank you, everyone who showed up to listen to the poets. This has been an incredible slam. And regardless of what happens and who gets to go on Metaphor Houston, we have all been blessed to be here with each other tonight and to listen to these poets. All right, y'all, we do have to get to the scores. We are getting to them slowly but surely. We have some scores in the chat. We have some scores being held up by our judges, but we don't care about the scores. We have never cared about the scores. We knew from the beginning we didn't mess with these scores. I told you from the beginning, the judges are just another piece of the audience. We are the real people who are showing these poets that they matter. We are showing them love. We are giving them energy. And I'm going to read these scores from low to high. We have a 9, a 9.3, a 9.5, a 9.6, and a 10, our very last unicorn of the night. We are exiting the forest, y'all. We are saying goodbye to the unicorns that we have been able to see.
So
and it is
many of them.
sad. It is sad that we have to leave, Bean. Why can't we just stay
my
here?
gosh.
Why can't we just stay with these fabulous young people?
Because we don't have premium Zoom. That's the main reason.
Capitalism strikes again, I see.
Capitalism is striking again.
All right, y'all. We're about to tally these scores up, but before we give out the names of before we come to the cumulative scores and the names of who will be on Metaphor Houston, we have a final poet who is here to bless us with some poems. Isn't that right, Bean? We have.
I think so. You know.
All right.
We think we do. Yeah. Would you do us the honors?
Yes, absolutely. we have Rudy Francisco coming to the stage, y'all. How excited are we to have him here? Everyone put some 4s in the chat, please. Put some 4s in the chat. All right, one second, y'all. I'm looking for his bio so I can properly introduce him. Bean, could you get that to me again, please? I seem to have lost it in the haze of the poems. Because I have been so moved by these poems, I've forgotten to do things like math or email, things that don't matter to us here in Poet
How
World.
How about this? Yo, he is an international winner at IWIT's individual poetry slam. I think back in 2010, he has won nationals with his team. He has coached many teams. He's a dear friend to all poets, especially poets in the slam realm. He has 2 books out. The Helium and remind me the other one. Your new one is
it's called I'll Fly Away.
I'll Fly Away. I haven't got to reading it yet. That's why it's not in my brain. But I'm going to. But y'all, this man is incredible. He definitely is has a great heart. And I called him. It's like, yo, man, I need this favor. Can you do it? And he was like, yeah, man, yeah, for sure. And it was almost like he didn't think of it. So y'all, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and start dropping some 4s, dropping 4s in the comments. Let people know. Go ahead and record. Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Francisco.
Hey, what's good, y'all? This has been an absolute honor. I've been, tuning in since like the beginning of the show. And I miss hearing youth poets, just because the way that y'all approach the craft is just so different. We can always tell when somebody's been doing this for a while because we all tend to sound very similar, right? But what's really amazing is seeing like the creativity and the perspective that y'all come with. So this has been an absolute blessing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jump in. This first poem, I wrote it because I started thinking a lot about masculinity, right, and what it all means. And how I sort of figure things out is that I sit down and I write about them. So here we go. And the article says, the Mexican government confiscates approximately 30,000 illegal firearms per year. When the guns are taken, they get dismantled and the metal is used to make other types of weapons that will later be utilized by their military. In 2012, Pedro Reyes, an artist from Mexico City, convinced his government to donate the guns to him, and he turned them into musical instruments. So somewhere there's a tambourine, a drum set, a guitar, all made out of things that were used to take people's lives. But now they create a sound that puts life back into people's bodies, which is to say a weapon will always be a weapon, but we choose how we fight the war. And from this, I learned that even the most destructive instruments can still create a melody worth dancing to. And sometimes, don't we also call that a battle? I wonder how long it took to convince the first rifle that it can hold a note instead of a bullet, but still fire into a crowd and make everyone move. When I was 6, I was taught how to throw a punch. In the 80s, that was the anti-bullying movement. And the first time one of my classmates took a yo mama joke a little too far, I remembered my training, so I turned his nose into a fountain, my fist 5 pennies, I closed my eyes, I made a wish, I came home with bloody knuckles, and it was the first piece of artwork my family hung on the fridge. I remember staring at my hands the same way you stare at a test when all your answers are correct. I didn't know what class this was, but I did know I was passing, and isn't that what masculinity has become? A bunch of dudes afraid of their own feelings, terrified of any emotion other than anger, constantly yelling at the shadows on the wall, but still having to realize that we're the ones standing in front of the light. We learn how to dodge a jab. We learn how to step in before we swing. We learn the heart is the same size as the fist, but we keep forgetting they don't have the same functions. We keep telling each other to man up. We don't know what the hell that even means. We turn our boys into bayonets. We point them in the wrong direction. We pull their triggers, and then we ignore all the damage they're doing in the distance. The word repurpose means to take an object and give it amnesia. It means to make something something forgets what it's been trained to do so you can use it for a better reason. I am learning that this body is not a shotgun. I am learning that this body is not a pistol. I am learning that a man is not defined by what he can destroy. I'm learning that a person who only knows how to fight can only communicate in violence, and that shouldn't be anyone's first language. I'm learning the difference between a garden and a graveyard is only what you choose to put in the ground. You see, once I came across a picture of a strange looking violin. The caption said that it was made out of a rifle. I thought to myself, you know, someday that could be me. Thank you. That's that first one. I only have 15 minutes, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump into some newer poems, right? So I've been playing around a little bit with different forms, and this one that I want to read right now, it's an obit, right? So Victoria Chang, she wrote this whole book called Obit, and all of the poems are obituaries, but they're sort of in a non-traditional sort of way where she's not talking about like people that have died, but she's talking about like things in her life that have died. Like there's an obituary for like her mother's appetite, you know, there's an obituary for like her patience, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I've been thinking about that and the ways in which like things in our lives sort of come and go. And so I have this poem, it's a little shorter, so here we go. It's an obituary for my father's house. My father's house died on September 4th, 2020, at the age of 23. You know, an eviction notice is a lot heavier than it looks. It seems like it's just paper and ink, but it's all dead weight. Once I carried my drunk friend up 3 flights of stairs and was sore for 5 days. But that was so much easier than packing my father's war medals into a brown box and taping it closed. I treated my teenage home like a swordfish, waited for it to stop breathing, and then scraped the insides clean. I packed a decade into the storage unit. We threw away the rest and watched a dump truck take all the memories that we couldn't find space for. This is a special kind of betrayal, an unforgivable treason. I don't know who to apologize to first. Thank you. This next one, I've been playing around with like odes. So this is odes are basically like when you write an appreciation poem for something, right? So here we go. This is a short poem, and I'm gonna jump back into the longer poems. But yeah, so this is an ode to my mother's plantains. In my version of heaven, my mother's plantains fall from the sky every Wednesday afternoon. It is a sweet rain with burnt edges. All the drops have been cut long ways and fried for 5 minutes. In the afterlife, this is the only event on my calendar. I step onto the balcony at 11:59 a.m., palms up and waiting for the showers. I asked God to put taste buds on the insides of my hands so I can enjoy each one twice. Thank you. So yeah, so this next poem, I'm gonna do, I think I got time for 2 more. So here we go. This next poem, I was struggling a lot with my mental health a little over a year ago, and something that I always do, like when I'm approaching a poem, usually my poems start with like the middle, right? Like I know kind of like what I want the poem to be about. I just don't know how to get there, right? And I don't know how to I don't know how to like dismount, right? Like I have trouble like finding endings at times. So this poem, it took me a while to write, mostly because of the subject matter, and also I was sort of like debating on how I wanted to set it up, right? So here we go. During the winter of 2015, the residents of Hampton Bay, Long Island woke up to what they say was the worst smell they had ever experienced. Mysteriously overnight, 1,000 fish had died in the canal. After thorough analysis, they found that the oxygen levels in the water were too low and all the fish had drowned. Upon hearing the news, many had questions like, how does a fish drown? Don't they have gills? Don't they have a fin and a tail? They said things like, aren't they built to survive in that environment? Perhaps this is the best analogy for my depression. This angry deity, this jealous God, this thirsty shadow that wrings my joy like a dish rag, turns every conversation into a conveyor belt that always begins with the phrase, you look tired today. To be honest, getting out of bed has become a magic trick, and I'm probably the worst magician I know. This sadness is the only clean shirt I have left, and my washing machine has been broken for months. When people ask me how I'm doing, I want to say my daughter's 4 years old and I'm still not sure if I'm a good father. I want to say that my dad has been diagnosed with dementia. There might be a day when I walk in the room and he doesn't recognize me, and I've always wanted us to start all over, but I guess you got to be careful about what you ask for. I guess when you pray for something, you have to be a little more specific. I want to say that crickets have been known to eat their own wings, and I too have a tendency to destroy what helps me get off the ground. I really want to say that I'm not in a good place right now, but that's not a polite answer. So instead I pretend it's Halloween, I jack-lantern my face into something acceptable, and I tell others I'm fine until it sounds like the truth. But sometimes there's a help me chain to the ankle of an I'm doing okay. Sometimes I'm fine is the quickest way to say I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes all the oxygen in the room becomes water. I feel like I'm sinking to the bottom, like I'm running out of air, but I made a promise to myself that I won't be another drowning fish, that I would not die in this canal. I heard that if you just take a deep breath and relax, the human body would naturally float on top of the water. So I breathe and I tell myself that it's gonna be okay. I cry, but I tell myself that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, because I know there's a better version of me somewhere in the future. He is staring at this moment right here, and he is saying, Rudy, thank you for not giving up on us. A few days ago, while I was reading, I saw a run-on sentence, and I thought, you know, it could have just ended right there. But it found a reason to keep going. I smiled and I said, well, same. Thank you. I think I got time for one more. Do I got time for one more? Bean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So this will be my last one. Yo, thank you again for having me. This has been a really awesome experience. Unfortunately, we can't really congregate in person. So, the online experience is like the next best thing. But I think what's really awesome is that it's also opened up a lot of really, really awesome avenues. You know what I mean? There's so many people who are now engaging in slam who just never had the opportunity to do so because they lived in communities where that just didn't exist. I've seen a lot of people from random parts of the country who are like, yeah, I don't have an open mic in my city, but now that there's a virtual, now they're virtual open mics. Now they have the opportunity to engage in the art form in ways that they couldn't before. I've seen a huge international representation as well. So yeah, it's been a really beautiful experience. I do miss doing shows in person, but yeah, I'm really glad that this exists. I'm really glad that we're still moving the craft forward. I'm so glad that we're all still participating in it. So here we go. So this is a newer poem. I've been writing a lot about my family lately. So this poem is actually about my dad and my daughter. I mentioned them in Drowning Fish. And then afterwards, I had so much more to say about that relationship, but it didn't feel like it fit into that particular poem. So there was a point where I had most of this poem that I'm gonna read you in Drowning Fish, and then it was too long. And I was like, well, it also sounds like two different poems, And I think sometimes we get attached and we're like, no, I wanna make this whole two different poem thing work. But sometimes it's, it's good to split them up into two separate poems. So yeah, this is called Hide and Seek. Here we go. My daughter is 4 years old, and right now her favorite game is hide and seek. The funny part is, she always tells me where to hide. She says, you go right there, I'll count, and then I'll come find you. I know. That's not how the game is played. I'm supposed to find a good spot, hide behind a door, a couch, or inside a closet. I'm supposed to make her look all around the house trying to figure out exactly where I am, but I don't do any of that. because I know what it feels like to wonder where your father is. Thinking, I know he has to be here somewhere. I come from a long line of boys who had to pick out their own razors and teach themselves how to shave. A lineage of young men who threw footballs in the air and then watched them land on the ground. We are echoes in a cave trying to love the frequency of our own noise, but have no idea where it comes from. The first time I got an A on a test, I whispered, "I'm proud of you" to myself just so I can hear what it sounds like in a man's voice. The first time I scored a touchdown, my football coach hugged me and I said, "Thanks, Dad," on accident. I've copied and pasted my father into all of my best moments and then felt guilty for not appreciating him for showing up. It's fascinating how the mind will do backflips if you just give it enough time to stretch. To be honest, I thought this feeling was a pair of hand-me-down jeans, something too big for me right now, but a garment I would grow into and grow out of as I got older. But here I am still trying to be a father to my daughter and myself. And this is usually the part of the story when I say I don't know who my dad is. I tell you I can look at 5 different pictures and not know which one is responsible for half of my DNA. But did you know that distance and proximity can eat at the same table? Did you know that a house can feel like an entire planet, and silence can turn 2 rooms into countries on opposite sides of the world? Silence is my first language, and lonely is an accent that I still can't get rid of. I was told my father left for the Vietnam War, but only his body came home, and I have no idea who he was before PTSD grabbed him by the happiness. My dad is one of the many rocks that America threw at another country, and eventually that country decided to throw him back. But every day I saw a ghost open my front door, walk right through me without flinching, and my entire childhood felt like an event with no RSVPs. Once a friend said, "At least your father didn't leave you," and I replied, "At least yours only did it once." They say that an apple always falls close to the tree, but if someone picks it up, it'll go as far as they do. Luckily, it's my daughter's favorite fruit. So when she says, "Let's play hide and seek," I say yes. When she says, "Wait right here," I say yes. When she says, "Dad, you're always so easy to find," I say, "Well, yeah. I'm always right here." Thank you so much. That is my time for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That last poem brought tears to my eyes. Like, y'all, the power of poetry, the power of words, the power of what people have to share. It's so incredible. Thank you so much, Marie Francisco, for being here with us and for blessing us with your words. The chat was all hype for you. I don't know if you could see it when you were performing, but there's so much love for you happening in our community tonight.
I was trying not to look at it because I get distracted easily, but yeah, I really appreciate the love, y'all. Like, thank y'all so much for having me.
Yo, man. Hey, y'all, drop them 4s. Drop them 4s, man. Drop those 4s. They're fire, man. And thank you for being here. This was a great event. This was a great event. So now, Rudy, if you don't mind, man, just staying to see who's going to be representing Houston at Brave New Voices, which will be virtual. I'm happy to say that because we have not raised money to travel. We have not raised a cent to travel. So I'm glad it's virtual.
Is it still in July? Is it July?
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I think I hope it don't move. So, those are details. All right. Do we have the scores? Do we have the team?
We do not yet. We are having some Excel malfunctions, which, poets and math and emails and Excel sheets, we just don't get along. So we're going to have to give us a moment at the end of this slam to pull ourselves together from everything that we have been feeling to have to do some quick math. Y'all know how we feel about that. In the meantime, I have a question for all y'all, which is a deeply important question. How many of y'all are wearing bout fits today? For those of y'all who don't know, a bout fit is when you show up to a poetry slam dressed to the nines to intimidate your opponents by your fly and your fashion. How many of y'all are wearing a bout fit that you can be proud of today? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Yes, you are, girl. Yes, you are. I wish we could see each other in person because honestly, bout fits are my favorite part of Brave New Voices. And for those of y'all who will be heading there, y'all will see virtually the way people show up and show out at poetry slams. You can go for the fashion passion and not even listen to the poetry, but the poetry will capture you. You can't go to a poetry slam and not listen to the poetry. All right, Calvin has just admitted his failures in the bout fit arena. He says, I'm wearing basketball shorts, bro. Bro, you should be ashamed. That is not a bout fit. Try again next time. That's why you're a sacrificial poet and you're not competing tonight. All right, y'all. Let's see. Where are we on those scores? Because as you know, the top 6 poets from this grand slam final, the reason it is called that, will be going to Brave New Voices, an event that changed my life. I first went to Brave New Voices in 2015 with a group of wonderful young poets, and it changed everything for me. I thought I was gonna be a lawyer, and now I'm a creative writing major now, y'all. So that is the direction we have chosen to take. It taught me about love. It taught me about how to hold other people. It taught me about how to have compassion on a personal level, on an institutional level, because I believe that at the end of the day, slam is an institution of compassion. It's a way we hold each other and make space for each other. And the scores are the least important part of it. I want to say thank you to everyone who made this event possible. Thank you to our wonderful judges, Gonzo, Brendan, Epi, Marlon, Mary, all of y'all. Thank you so much. You do the very, very hard work of having to be booed at and yelled at and screamed at all slam just for assigning numbers to poems, but somebody has to do it. And we appreciate that y'all are the ones to do it tonight. Also, thank you to all of our sponsors who have helped us make this event possible. Like I said, WITS Houston, Metaphor Houston, the Academy of American Poets, Artworks, the Brown Foundation, Gucci Changemakers, Houston Endowment, Travelers, Youth Speaks, the City of Houston, Houston Arts Alliance, Community of Literary Mags and Presses, Brave New Voices, the National Book Foundation, and to Bill Morin and Eris Brown for their workshops, y'all. Bean, are we ready with the final scores?
I believe so. So let's start from lowest score to highest.
All right, y'all.
Did you receive the email? I mean the text?
I did.
Go ahead, you do this.
Okay.
You do this.
All right, y'all. Starting with 6th place with a cumulative score of 54.5, we have Nadia K. Y'all give it up for the poet, please. Put some 4s in the chat for the poet. All right. Okay, now in 5th place with a cumulative score of 56.1, we have Alexis. Y'all give it up for the poet, please. Was last in the first round and ended up on the team in 5th place. That's what we call a turnaround, baby. Come on, poet.
Turnaround. Let's go.
All right, y'all. In 4th place, we have Adriana with a cumulative score of 56.7. Y'all put the 4s in the chat for the poet, please. 4th place. All right, now. In 3rd.
Hold on. I think a malfunction happened.
Oh, a malfunction happened.
Yeah. Something happened.
Something happened with the scores, y'all. You should never let poets be in charge of the math part. We should have an outside contractor, somebody STEM. Didn't somebody have a poem with science in it? They should sign up to be the contractor for the next poet, for the next poetry slam, so we don't have to be doing all this. All right, y'all. Well, you know,
these are the scores.
Okay.
So first off, we want to apologize these are the scores.
All right.
We want to apologize about that. We don't know what happened, but we got the scores now. And Rukmini, go ahead and reread that.
All right, y'all. Starting from the top, starting from fresh. We don't got nobody on the team yet. All right. Starting in 6th place with a score of 56.7 cumulatively, we have Adriana. Everyone give it up for Adriana. Put the 4s in the chat for her, please. Clap it up for the poet. All right, in 5th place with a cumulative score of 57.7, we have Madison. Y'all put the 4s in the chat for the poet. They are going to Brave New Voices this summer. Yes, they are. All right, in 4th place with a cumulative score of 57.8, we have Nora. Y'all give it up for Noratorious and their poems. Put the 4s in the chat. Hype it up in the chat. All right, in 3rd place with a score of 57.9, we have Micah. Y'all put the 4s in the chat for the poet. Get the hype going, get the energy going as we get into our 2nd place in Grand Slam Finals. This is a really big deal, y'all. All right, with a cumulative score of 58.9, we have Nadia, y'all. Nadia in second place. And finally, I need all the tension, all the suspense for our Grand Slam finalists in first place with a score of 58.0. 58.5, we have Katrina, y'all. Katrina is our Grand Slam champion. And I was a little bit off. I have gotten an update that Nadia's score was a cumulative 58.0, not 58.9. So now the math makes sense and the first place is in the first place. All right, y'all, give it up for all of our poets. Put the 4s in the chat, please, and give it up for Katrina as our Grand Slam champion. That is a really good feeling, and every poet deserves all the hype, all the praise, all the love, and the scores are just by the by. All right, can we say thank you to every single poet who has come up on this stage and blessed us, including Rudy, including all of our sacrificial poets. Thank you, Brandon de Hoyos, for the thank you poets little sign. It is beautiful, we see it, and we appreciate the love. And that is what we came here tonight to do, to bask in the love of poetry.
So I want to, am I on? Good. I want to congratulate the girls who made the team. Y'all show love to them. Show so much love to them. Thank you so much. Rudy, thank you for being here, brother, and being a part of this. Mary, thank you for the cupcakes, even though I didn't get a cupcake, but thank you for the cupcakes and the Gucci swag. We really appreciate it. Brandon, you know, you're gonna be seeing these girls on. This is our first all girl team ever. So we got to get them on ABC for sure. Who else we got? Marlon, thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Atlanta and being a part of this. We would love to partner with y'all with these girls again. Epi, you know, we got to do it. And Gonzo, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, brother. You know, I don't know, I'm not pretentious. It's just I knew Gonzo was going to be here, y'all, and he made this for me. You know what I mean? And I love it so much. You know, I'm not pretentious. I promise. You know, I want to thank Hannah. I want to thank Adam, and Sonia. Y'all, Sonia and Hannah especially. Y'all really stepped in and were the glue for this event to happen. Thank you so much. Adriana and Adam, y'all two came in the last minute and clutch with the scores and everything. Thank you for keeping us online, keeping us with the time. I appreciate it. And the girls who made the team, Stephanie and Brandy, teachers out there, educators who put their heart and soul into getting your young people ready to be a part of these events. Thank you. Please keep doing the work. We really wouldn't be able to do this without y'all. Writers in the Schools is more than proud to be a part of Metaphor Houston and the future of Metaphor Houston. And this has been something that I've been extremely passionate about over 10 years, over a decade. And this is something that I just love to do. We are going to put the internet on fire with these poems. I cannot wait to see what y'all create. I can't wait so much that practice is on Saturday. I can't wait so much that practice is on Saturday at 12 p.m. All right, from 12 to 2 is our first practice. It will not be a great impression for you to miss it. Okay, all right. I also want to say Adam is alumni of Metaphor Houston, and she is the assistant coach. You know, we had to go back to people who have been a part of the team before, and this is a paid position. So we wanted to make sure we got it to someone that's been on the team before. And also, speaking of alumni, Rukmini herself is alumni, and we wanted her to be a part of this. Rukmini, thank you for stepping up. I know this was the first time. I know you were a little nervous because you told me, but y'all drop for us for Rukmini. She killed it. She killed it. She killed it. She killed it. So, Slam team, congratulations. Drop me an email tonight, and I'll be sending you some stuff in the morning. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Thank you, everyone. Hannah and